如果今次呢個飛行夢係實現嘅話咧，我有多張機票咧，我一定係帶我老豆同我一齊去飛仔嘅。關於一個咁有冒險精神嘅爹哋咧，我最想就係有機會帶埋佢去，等佢同我一齊冒險。Jetstar 世界遊王挑戰賽幫你實現你嘅理想，想去邊度都可以隨時起飛。我就分享咗我嘅故事，預備出發啦！你呢？
Refresher on the rules.
So here's how 1v1 competitions work. Each player gets up to 3 bands and then blind picks their champion, which means mirror matches are possible. Then when they spawn into the rift, each player starts at level 1, gets 475 gold to spend, and then minions come out at 30 seconds.
On the first tower, draw first blood, or be the first to get 100 CS. Do any of these and you move on to day 3's competition finals.
Now let's take a look at the all-star top laners, starting with North America and the LCS TSM's Dyrus. And then Fnatic Zoas is representing the European LCS.
For the Garena All-Stars, it's Stanley from TPA, and CG Entus Frost's Shy will be repping the Korean LCS All-Stars. And then from the Chinese LPL, it's PDD of Invictus Gaming.
And on Thursday, there was playing games between the LCL Shy and Dyrus, and I defeated Dyrus and eliminated him from the skill tournament. I think it was a Kennen dive on a Soraka at level 2 or something like that. It was pretty crazy stuff. So with 4 tops left, who do you expect to come out on top in this one?
It's a really hard one to call. I mean, we saw yesterday PDD. For me, I wasn't sure how PDD was going to react here to being on this big stage. He's at home after all.
He reacted pretty well.
And that's the point. Yesterday, he was absolutely formidable with that Rumble.
And he's really considered the king of Chinese solo queues. So you know his individual sort of 1v1s and just general, man, I'm really good at this game, are super up to date.
And the thing is, they don't have to stick to those top laners. There's something we talked about yesterday, obviously, with the junglers. We saw double Caitlyn's from 2 junglers.
Yeah.
It's something. Going to see double Lee Sin, by the way, for the final. Going to be good, that one is. That will be to day 3, of course. What are we expecting from these guys? Bearing in mind the top laners, we've seen Nunu coming out from SOAS. We've seen Wicked and SOAS going at it to get here. Challenge for this one. We saw Riven coming out a few times, but they're not they don't necessarily have to stick to those champions. And maybe, just maybe, Soaz, with such an enormous champion pool, may have something up his sleeve.
I actually expect them to play their normal sort of champions, though. Like, I kind of expect that the top laners will tend to play champions like Jason Nunu, and then you're going to kind of see that branch out. Like, you'll see more of the traditional mid lane 1v1, Zed, Kha'Zix, things like that, from the mid laners in the 1v1 competition.
Well, no matter who comes out on top in these skill competition matchups, all 5 All-Stars have a ton of respect for their fellow top laners.
Top lane's just a rough place to live when, you know, you got some junglers coming into your neighborhood and just ruining your day.
我觉得对上路来说，经验跟思考能力是最重要的。
The most important thing in top lane is finding a champion that helps a lot in team fights, like Rumble and Diana.
你要熟悉这个版本所有的上单英雄，当对方拿到什么样的英雄，我该怎么样打。
You could be the best top laner in the world, but if the enemy top laner has like a kill on you or like a small experience advantage, then you're done.
멘탈 같은 걸 조정 못하고 많이 깨지면 플레이도 안 나올 뿐더러 또 탑 같은 경우는 뭐 지더라도 다음에 또 이겨야 된다 이런 생각이 또 있어야 더 실력 상승이 될 뿐 아니라서
I see top laners that can carry, I see top laners that can innovate, top laners that have been at the top. Honestly, there's no top laner from each team where you can say is like, oh, he doesn't deserve to be there. They all are really, really good.
I think they are good, or they want to come to the All-Star game.
다 잘해서 좀 부담감이 많아요.
I'm honestly looking forward to playing all of them because that's just where I measure myself up to. And win or lose, I'm going to learn something from it.
And now it's time for the first semi-final match in the top lane skills competition. So let's meet the players. On the blue side, representing the Chinese LPL All-Stars from Invictus Gaming, we saw how dangerous his Rumble can be yesterday. It's PDD.
And on the red side, representing the European LCS All-Stars,
His first semi-final match in the top lane skills competition. So let's meet the players. On the blue side, representing the Chinese LPL All-Stars from Invictus Gaming, we saw how dangerous his Rumble can be yesterday. It's PDD.
And on the red side, representing the European LCS All-Stars, is Fanatics Soaz.
All right, the players getting ready for Champion Select. Coming into this match, what do we expect to see from these two guys? PDD we saw with Rumble yesterday, pretty phenomenal, honestly. So as we've seen coming into this, he's pulled out Nunu before. Definitely wasn't too impressed by Wicked there, but we've already seen this guy. This is the one person we've seen in a best of 5 already. And what were we thinking? Because PDD, he's got a pretty big champion pool himself.
Yeah, so certainly they could pick out almost anything. So calling attention to the Rumble and the Nunu picks you talked about, Rumble doesn't 1v1 all that well at very, very low level. It's around 4 or 5. He starts to ramp up. This is, though, patch 3.6, so the consume changes are not in. You could play Nunu and out-sustain everything and just try to kind of reach the 100 minion mark because you're never going to fall over in lane. Those are absolute possibilities here.
And I think that's a real hard thing to call at this stage of a 1v1 tournament, that because you can play anything. Let's look back to yesterday, Caitlyn versus Caitlyn in the jungle, 1v1. Yeah. So it's really hard to say specifically what these players will go for, and I'm not sure exactly how much individual 1v1 training these teams have done, within the ranks. Maybe they've found something out there that we're not quite aware of how strong it can be in these 1v1 games.
I'm not really quite sure, just because I talked to Chawi yesterday and I was like, so did you practice for your 2v2 at all? He's like, well, no, we've been practicing for the All-Star game because we really want to win like the team tournament. The morning of, we talked about strategies and whatnot, but I think outside of a little bit of powwowing, they're more focused on the team competition.
Oh, okay, so let's rather than what they're going to pick, what do we think they're going to ban? Because yesterday we saw quite a few of the same bans throughout the tournament. Nunu was one of them. Annie was banned quite often, actually.
Yeah.
Varus has kind of been hit and miss. Don't know whether she's going to begin. Caitlyn, if not banned, tends to get picked. Kennen almost certainly has been a ban and did get picked twice.
There's good stuns and good, crowd control for that reason. But until she gets level 6, she can't all in you. There's no way she can do that, really. And so, and when we saw like Thresh and Blitzcrank getting grabbed up, again, those are 2v2 centric champion picks. So you'll see like self-sufficient AD carries, Ezreal, Tristana, Caitlyn, Kennen, guys like that. You'll see them a fair bit. Or you'll go all out sustain you, and I'll play like Nunu or Udyr.
Yeah, and I think Nunu, I'm sure that PDD has seen that game against SOAS, that famous best of 5 that drew incredible amounts of people to watch it. If he's seen that, which again I'm sure he has, at least heard of by now, that a Nunu probably won't be in there.
No, and actually, if I recall, I'm trying to think back to yesterday, but I'm pretty sure it was banned in every game. Nunu was, because they were just like, nobody wants to deal with that. It's just annoying. It's an annoying champion in the top lane. But what does surprise me so far in these skill games is the fact that not one person's gone for an ability power champion. Nobody's gone for those AP. Just something to burst something that up. Well, Heimer's kind of like a hybrid.
Okay.
And it didn't work. It was close, though. It was very close. I'll give St. Vicious credit. It was very, very close. And like he said, if it had landed that concussion grenade, well, they may well have won it. Who knows?
It's kind of interesting because while you are seeing champions like Kennen and Annie and Heimer, the hybrid or whatever, the fact that they're building attack damage atomization is because you're trading so much, right? Like Doran's Blade Annie's because, well, I'll auto attack a lot at 625 range and I have to last hit because I can't get behind 100 minions. In a regular game where they're AoEing everything, okay, I'd buy a bunch of ability power, but here it's just, well, the first 7 minutes and I'll just attack you a bunch.
Well, we're going to get into champion select then, and we can tell you, as you can see, even on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, Zyra, the first ban out here by PDD, and Kennen banned out by SOAS.
Yeah, no surprise with the Kennen ban. There's the Caitlyn ban. So these are champions that we've already seen banned quite a lot in this one. Quinn also we've seen banned quite a few times, actually. Alexic beat Skara with Quinn, didn't he? When that was we've also seen a number of supports, like the Lulu's been coming through. Soraka was a popular choice, and I'm trying to think what happened when we gave this a full-run test with the North American players. Victor was one of the strongest champions we saw in that, and yet nobody so far has gone near him.
There's just so many champions to look at, and because you don't see some of them so much, right? Like Annie we have barely ever seen, and we see her like once every 3 months in competitive, and then she comes back. It's like, actually, she's really, really good. And you think about the really good dueling champions, right? Victor shields himself, things like that. There's just a lot of opportunities here for even different play styles.
So the Elise banned the final one from PDD, a champion which SOAS knows, let's put it this way. And there is a Draven final ban. There's Nunu currently for SOAS and Ezreal for PDD.
If SOAS can pull this one out, if he allows him through, which it looks like he may well go for it, there's no reason why not. He's just such an annoying champion, and honestly, on an Ezreal, I don't think he's going to have enough burst. He's just going to keep consuming.
The early lane is going to be difficult because Consume has a fairly long cooldown, doesn't heal for a ton super early on. He's locked it in.
Oh my god.
The first 3 levels are the hard part for Nunu, and then he becomes almost immune. And the question then becomes, can PDD last hit successfully, because he can probably stay ahead that way with the early game advantage, before Nunu starts ice blasting in the face and pushing him out of lane.
So, without putting jokes aside in there, my love for Soraka and Nunu is blatant.
Yes.
But with the fact that Nunu's going to be doing constant annoying damage in there, is Soraka actually a good option with the silence, with the star call, with the heal?
I could see it, honestly. The only champion I wouldn't want to see... it would be great. The only champion...
Bananas versus snowballs. It's just like... I could only imagine the grin that will be ear to ear right now. It could be crazy. But PDD's actually looking at this, and he's considering it. Oh, he's switching.
Well, Joe, I actually want to 1v1 you at some point, because I'll counterpick you with Wukong, because every attack will feed me.
Went for the banana, Joe. Good point. I see what you did there. They've switched it across. He's maybe going to go for Annie. Last second, switch is over. And honestly, I'm not sure Annie can stand against Nunu.
That's going to be really, really rough. I don't think she can outdamage him very easily either. But again, we're probably going to see Doran's Blades attack damage Annie, and we'll just keep freaking throwing fireballs at him and hope he falls over.
Well, fire counts as ice.
True. Double damage bonus, man.
I think we should also mention at this point, for those at home who are a little bit confused as to why you would pick Annie into a Nunu. This is, of course, blind pick. Yes. So they don't see what they're picking. Obviously, they see what's being banned out there. But it's going to be Annie versus Nunu, an interesting matchup here between PDD and SOAS. And I honestly have to say my cards right now are with SOAS. After seeing his Nunu before and knowing the matchup that he's in with here, I think he might have this one.
There's a really, really good chance for him. So I want to see what their opening builds end up being. And it's interesting because in talking to Doublelift, he said, man, the lanes are so short, like just shove and walk back and shove and walk back. You don't need anything but Doran's Blades. PDD's like, I'm open up Flask. And heck, 22 ability power.
And we should point out here, this is kind of a fun competition. It's not megally serious. It's fun to see how it works out. It's great to see the top players of the world going head-to-head against each other. And, you know, who doesn't want to see Diamondprox versus Insect, Messiah versus Alexis, stuff like that. I mean, they're the champions that people want to see playing against each other. And as it is, Soaz versus PDD. I mean, the top laners, when you think of it, it was a pretty stacked tournament in itself.
And it's fun that they're signing up for mirror matches too. I'm really looking forward to that Lee Sin mirror.
It's using Knight already.
Yeah, well, it's 5 ability power, 5 attack damage. Why the heck not? So, you know, this is going to be kind of the battle, right? Is Nunu going to run forward, auto attack minions, take fireballs to the back, and then hope he can just consume up forever.
Taking a lot of harass here.
Yeah, he is taking a lot of harass. I mean, we saw him basically what he's gone for is consume first. PDD actually going aggressive in there, so didn't go with that snowball first, went with consume at level 1. And I think he was trying to conserve that mana, you know, build up those 5 attacks so that he gets that free spell out first.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised just at how much he's pushing, but you know, PDD only has 1 spell available, so...
Straight back full health, and he's going to harass. Now he's at level 2, of course, he's got Ice Blast as well as Consume, so this is where the poke starts coming out from Soaz. He's used the Brilliance Pot as well, so he's going to start getting the ability power on him. And PDD, he's going to get forced on the tower, but there's not a lot that Soaz can do to him on the tower. In fact, there's so much so he's taking tower hits, and he doesn't really care.
Yeah, but here comes the hard part for PDD. He's got to try to last hit under the turret, and you can see it's 10-11. Soaz is winning this game right now.
Up until this point, that's certainly the thing that's going on. Is we do see some damage coming in. That's what PDD's got to do here, I feel, is to try and keep Soaz from pushing those minions underneath his turret, and he's not going to be at a strong point at this level.
And he's only got 2 magic resists as well from Runes and Mastery, so those Ice Blasts are hitting super freaking hard.
The cooldown's only going to get quicker. That's what he's aiming for. There's another one. He's going to hit. The problem is, it's not exactly that much burst to take him down. He's going to hit him and hit him and hit him. He's just going to keep chucking the potions, and he can just walk back. So it's only until that sort of damage gets so strong, which it is kind of forcing him out of lane right now.
Yeah, and PDD realizes, okay, Soaz got an Ignite, one more Snowball plus an Ignite, and I'm probably dead from that one. So I'm going to have to back away from this one. We can see there the CS at this stage is 22 to 14. That's already a large lead building for Soaz.
And here comes the difficult thing for PDD. So he's grabbed a Ruby Crystal there. That's going to be nice for him. He's going to get some sustain, or some health, I should say, to withstand it. So he grabs a Torrent's Ring, so just bigger snowballs the entire day. The one saving grace for PDD is it's really easy to watch an Ice Blast and barrier it, so he'll be able to block 1 full Ice Blast whenever he needs to.
We'll see whether he does get a chance. Of course, the stun's going to get built up once again by PDD. And what would go through the players' minds right now? I mean, this is a totally alien environment really that going out. Yeah, God, I hate Nunu. I think everyone in solo queue right now is probably like, God, I hate Nunu.
Yeah, well, again, this is 3.6, so the consume is stronger now than it is on live, and you're seeing exactly why we changed consume, guys.
Well, PDD is trying his best to put down as much damage as he can on towards Soaz here. Will turn him up as well, but
miss the flame.
Yeah, that's the bad thing here. He can't afford to be missing really anything at this stage.
No, I mean, he's brought it a little bit closer. He's only -5 now. He was -8. And I kind of want to see how this ends up scaling through. Because Soaz, I don't think he's even going to learn Blood Boil. I think he'll actually leave the skill point just unlearned because he's like, screw it, not worth it. And I want to see how Annie can itemize against this.
He's gone for the boots again. We saw this yesterday, and it didn't really work out too well. Oh, he missed the CS though on the last one. That's going to be a bit of a big hit. Yeah, that's the 40+ gold one. He's just missed out on that. But he's going to keep on chugging through, keep on throwing those. He's going to get a couple of tower hits on him this time, and that's going to be a good bit of damage for PDD. But look at that, he just turns around, Ice Blast back in your face.
Yeah, so that's what Nunu does, man. He just trucks on through, doesn't take any damage. I think Demolisher Nunu is the right skin for him because he's finished demolishing this match right now.
But I mean, he knew you were casting this one, so maybe he could have gone for Nunu bot.
I would have loved that.
And started spamming.
Spamming that, man. I learned these moves from Freak. It's the line. It's worthwhile.
Well, he's having a good laugh of things there as well, and it's just Snowball, consume, Snowball, consume, and PDD having to trot back there with Annie to heal himself back up. Already closing in on towards that 50 mark here. Of course, 100 CS, first tower or first blood is enough to win the game.
And of course, he's about halfway there. The turret's not taking much damage. PDD is doing a good job of keeping that one pushed off his turret, you know, a little bit, but the minion score is getting rough, and I haven't seen Annie get anywhere close to killing Nunu. The big point's going to be level 6. If you can get level 6 and break Soaz with Pivers, that's the opening for PDD.
Comeback move. You're in the bush. I know you are. I'm going to flame you. So they're both going to go back and buy. What is he going to get? Is he going to be a second Doran's Ring here? I don't see him getting for boots. I don't see any reason. He's going to get a Brilliance pot, actually, and a second Doran's Ring. Meanwhile, it's a single Brilliance pot for PDD.
Okay, so that's PDD saying, look, I'm about to be level 6. He's actually, let's see, yeah, he's half a bar away, so about 2 waves till he's 6, and he's going to chug all the ability power and then all in. The only problem is Soaz has 53 MR from Runes and Masteries, so he's doing a bit less damage.
Oh, he's going to go straight in. Oh, Absolute Zero. He's going to pop it just before he gets out of range. Remember, Tibbers will be available in a minute. That may well turn things around.
Yeah, okay, and he did burn Barrier to help block the damage out as well. PDD has Ignite, but so does Soaz. The Soaz has a Barrier.
Tibbers is very, very close. He's about to level up. Just needs to, he's trying to get him to get a consumer. He knows there's that danger of Tibbers any moment. How much damage he's putting out?
It's too much damage right now for PDD. Even with Tibbers coming up, it's not got the the constant damage that you need to get this new out. PDD going very low. The Ignite is down. Minion gets that hit off. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. One more tick needed.
Wow, that is actually mass for PDD now. He's actually got a cooldown advantage at this point.
34 hit points he went down to.
Yeah.
That was close. That was very tough, close.
Oh man, this is, I mean, Soaz though, the thing is he's closing in, right? He's almost at 60 minions right here. And PDD, he's got to hit 6 and just make that move like right away.
Which is what it looks like he's mainly trying to do. He wants to get that stun out. Of course, the tower's going to clear out the waves. He's building up. He's got Tibbers ready. He wants to go looking for it, but it's gone. It's gone already.
So that's going to go by up. If you got a negative
problem now, right? I mean, PDD, how is he going to get the tower down?
And look at his face. Look at him in the bottom corner. He's actually scratching his head. He's a little bit concerned about this on PDD. And, you know, he was such a confident. We saw him in the video just at the start there where he was doing a big fist in the air waving it. He's a very confident boy. And the guy gets mobbed in this arena. Every time he's walked out, they have absolutely ran to him. So this, you know, on home turf, he's really up against it against Soaz here.
How does he win it? That was my main point that I was trying to get out there. I mean, what does he have to do? It's got to be a full combo. It's all in.
I mean, he can keep leveling up to get his Q and W stronger. He can keep leveling up for ability damage, right? He can still get up to level 13. He'll up in damage against Soaz, and that will outscale Soaz's health generation. So, I mean, I don't think you want to fight against Nunu's Ignite, but basically it's gain levels at 95 minions, all in Nunu. Hope it works.
95 minions, yeah, that exactly is the point that he may have to do it, because he's already at 71 and it doesn't seem like the scaling's quite working out for Annie just yet. Level 7 already for Soaz. PDD a little bit away from that one. He's going back to buy and he's going to get himself another Brilliance pot. He's going to be coming back glowing into the lane against PDD. And PDD though has got Tibbers ready, and Absolute Zero is another 30 seconds away.
That's what he's got to rely on, I think, at this point. Absolute Zero is not there for Soaz. Let's get him stunned up again, but again, Soaz will just norm it all straight back up there, and you can see the amount of health that he gets straight back in the whole time that's going on. Snowball after snowball. PDD again finds himself with about a third of his HP left.
That's what Nunu does to you, man. He's going to keep throwing things at you, and even though fire is the hard counter to ice, and apparently Yeti is the hard counter to fire.
Do you think if he puts Tibbers down, Tibbers is going to want to hug? He's like, I better know bear.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is, you can even consume Tibbers. Like, that's the problem, is level 1 Tibbers.
Tibbers!
It only has... Oh, Tudo doesn't tell me the health. I mean, Tibbers is not the tankiest thing in the world. Like, Soaz could probably just kill it if he wanted to.
Well, shooting an ice bolt. See you later, Tibbers.
Thanks for the help.
Yeah. Right? Like, Tibbers, like, casting R would heal Soaz at this point.
And he's not far away yet. 83 minions already taken out to the 53 of PDD. And you can see there, Annie underneath the tower, that's not a strong place to be.
He's trying to bait it out there this time around. He's sat there purposely. And now, oh, he's going to pop the Absolute Zero, gets another half health down. And he keeps chunking PDD down. Now see if he's going to bait it again. No, he is going to back by. It's going to be another Doran's Ring, surely.
Well, there's only 11 minutes to go for him, so the next 2 waves is when PDD has to all in. Problem is, he waited long enough that Soaz just now got Ignite back, so...
He's gone for a Fortitude pot.
Yeah, he's got to get the burst health. He knows he's a minute away from winning the game.
And so the other thing is, with him so close to minions, it's like, well, I'm going to use Absolute Zero to get Annie away, but also just, you know, take out an entire minion wave with me. So this is just looking rather impossible for PDD.
This has got to be all in. He's at 95 CS after this wave. Oh, he's interrupted in getting 1 CS, but he's really throwing everything he's got on him here. He has to go all in for it, and that's what seems like what he's trying to do. There's the barrier already, but again, the burst goes down, the ignite is on. He's only got Tibbers left. There goes Tibbers. Can he just turn around and consume him? He's going to try to, and he throws out the barrier. Is enough. The flame, of course, is coming on Soaz, but it's just not enough damage. And Soaz at 93 minions may well have just picked himself up the game. Turns around, takes down Tibbers and says, thanks for 50 gold.
There you go. He's still got 500 health remaining. Actually, PDD, yeah, he's got not many places to go. He's just sitting there taking
He's dead. He's give up. He's give up.
Yeah. He knows that this one is over, so it's going to be Soaz that wins this one. So the minions stop focusing in Mia, but Soaz are going to come and be like, and 1 snowball.
They're dancing. They're dancing. There it is. There we go. It's going to be Soaz that takes it. First blood over PDD. The Frenchman looking very happy there, or not so much really. There's not a big smile in his face that had happened, but knowing him, he's happy inside.
He is happy inside. I know how Soaz is. Even when he loses, he shows
there's a big grin on his face.
It's on the inside of his mouth, his big grin at this point. But he's got to be happy. We saw how PDD performed yesterday in the team tournament. And yes, it was Nunu versus Annie. Yes, Nunu's not going to be allowed to be played, I'm sure, by anyone else throughout this tournament after seeing that one happen, if it wasn't obvious already.
Unless there's a counter pick available, they're going to try to bait out. But, I mean, Soaz really showed he's a cold-blooded killer, ran the Nunu, just shattered everything, right? Like, it was just AP Nunu's hard to push out a lane at 3.6.
Well, I mean, we called it at the start. We Nunu's got to be banned here, surely. This is not going to work. And then, sure enough, he lets it through. So next up, it's going to be Shy versus Stanley.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, there's not a better description.
I love this event.
Yeah.
There's so many big stars here. And they're all just, you know, this is a unique experience for these guys as well. The players and for you guys at home and for us casters, honestly, because seeing that these top players going head-to-head is just amazing.
Yeah, that's what we want to be here for. That's what we want to see. That's the whole point of the All-Stars.
It's All-Stars,
right?
yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going to be finding out a little bit later on. Shy versus Stanley will be our next game here from the desk. But first of all, we're going to go over to the interview lounge where Shox is waiting.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm here with Liquid, who is, of course, the manager for the North American All-Star team. Liquid, we're in the middle of the skill matchups. I know you're an avid player. Who would be your choice for a skill matchup like that?
I think Nunu's really strong, but I think at least my personal favorite champion would be Fiddlesticks, and just cross my fingers that they didn't go with something with stun, so he's pretty strong.
All right. But of course you're here to manage the North American All-Star team who didn't manage to win yesterday. How do you identify, from your standpoint, what went wrong?
You know, it was unfortunate. We had done a lot of preparation in our boot camp the week before. And once we lost the second game, I pulled the guys off stage. I said immediately, let's just talk exactly about what happened, what are the mistakes, let's make sure that they don't happen tomorrow, and we're going to then beat EU. So mistake number 1 was this, mistake number 2 was this, mistake number 3 was this. Does anybody else have anything else to say? Went down the line, and we just focused on our next match. So.
You're saying you're going to beat EU. What do you identify as like the main things to contain when you're playing against the European team?
I mean, we want to play to our strengths, which during the boot camp we focused on our early game and being able to snowball our early game, so we're going to be focusing on that. We've done a lot of research with regards to bans and picks, so we're going to focus on that as well.
All right. Good luck in that matchup, and of course you've been around esports for a long time. What is your impression of this awesome venue?
This is unbelievable. I haven't seen anything like this since World Championships, so it's impressive. It's an honor to be here, and I'm glad to share an experience.
We're very glad to have you here. Thanks for the interview. And
Thank
for
you.
Now, let's head back over to our guys at the desk.
Thanks a lot, Shox. It's time for Game 2 of the Top Lane Skills competition. So let's have a look at our 2 players for this one. It's 2 superstars, without a doubt.
Absolutely amazing, guys. On the blue side, representing the Korean LCL, it is CJ Entus Frost's Shy.
And, of course, on the red side, and honestly, both these guys are superstars, but the red side, this is the man right here. This is the Korean All-Stars TPA, Stanley.
and we have Frost player in red and TPA, Frost player in blue, TPA player in red. It couldn't be any more fitting for this one, I think. So definitely going to be an exciting one. The players are getting ready to jump, of course, into Champion Select. Coming into this game, though, guys, what are you feeling? Can we even call a favorite?
Immediately. This is a rematch, guys.
Yep.
This is a rematch. This is TPA versus Frost. This is the World Finals right here. These guys have faced off against each other a number of times. Remember Nidalee that Stanley pulled out a number of times on Shy? Shy obviously famous for Singed. Don't think we're going to see that one, Joe, unfortunately. But who knows?
Sad.
Yeah. You just have different champions when it's down to just 1v1. I mean, the Brush is a bit farther away than top lane.
Yes. So Caitlyn being banned out straight away, kind of been a standard ban. I think they watched Diamond and Insect yesterday. It was like, Insect probably went, don't let Caitlyn through. It's not fun to play against.
No. And actually, I am surprised. I called it wrong. Annie is actually still a really big factor in the 1v1s as well. So, you called it before. Nunu, I think, is a really big deal here. But the standard AD carry gamut of Draven and Kennen and Ezreal are still available here.
What gets me is why have they not gone for someone like LeBlanc, some really fearsome early game champion? Something just anyone that could be strong within the first 5 levels before the ulti hits.
She would harass really, really well. Then right at 6, she'll try to burst you out. I'm not entirely sure. I know she can get pushed really hard, and then maybe...
She couldn't clear the waves, I suppose, either. But
yeah, it's really hard for her to wave clear, so you can try to just stack defense to go for the 100 minion mark or the turret, and as long as you don't get insta-gib, she has no other tools to beat you with. And, maybe people have figured that out. When you consider champions like Elise getting banned out, that's a very similar champion who's going to poke you with Qs all day and eventually fall over.
Yeah, and she has better wave clear ability, which is a new one. You can harass someone out, but if you can't take the minions after that, then you've got another problem on your hands. We are going to see Kennen banned out there as a final, and Jason, of course, is already out. Draven, Caitlyn, Elise. Pretty standard stuff coming out here, but what are the picks going to be? Don't forget, guys, it is blind picks, so they're not going to know what they're going for. Varus was left open, and Varus is going to be locked in here by Shy.
All right, so this is the second Korean player to run an AD carry as his solo. Insect had run Twitch before when he beat up St. Vicious. So apparently, I don't know if they did a little bit of talking beforehand. I assume they've been together practicing for the match. They're like, guys, AD carries actually destroy pretty hard in the 1v1s.
Well, Varus we know is very strong in the 1v1s. Double lift yesterday, 1 minute 40 seconds was it, something like that. Double lift the next special into the final, and it is going to be an AD carry match-off. It is going to be Varus versus Twitch. Who do you give the upper hand in this 1v1?
As far as auto trades go, I actually like Varus more. He's got longer range. I think he's got a little bit more easily accessible burst. But if you sneak up on someone with Twitch, as we saw Insect try to do the entire time against Saint, Varus doesn't exactly get away from Twitch very easily.
Yeah, they're very similar in style, I'd say, because of, the fact that you've got the Blight stacking now on Varus and then popping it with an ability. You've got the Expunge over with Twitch. I'm going to be really interested to see this one. Of course, as we said earlier on, it's somewhat of a grudge match. We heard about the Season 2 World Championships a little bit earlier on, and I just wonder if Stanley has the ring on his table in clear vision of Shy right now.
I got this and you didn't. And look at the size of the ring, brother. Stanley's hand ring, oh my God, it is enormous. It's actually bigger than the size that exists, wasn't it? They had to literally custom make it.
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, for sure.
I would not want to 1v1 Stanley IRL, I'll tell you that. That would not, I mean,
that would not be a competition.
No, nor in League. So I'm going to let Stanley fight other pros, and that's fine. I'll talk about it and make sure I give him just enough praise.
So it looks like Shy's being pretty clever here. He doesn't want to walk into any stealth rats. We did see that in previous matchups when we've tried this game out before. This is setting. He can be pretty lethal. So what is Stanley level to start with? Obviously, hail of arrows coming out from Shy there, so no surprise. And it is, of course, going to be Expunge for Stanley.
So just because I like numbers, lifesteal, 2 lifesteal points on Shy, lifesteal for Stanley. So for what it's worth, they play super long laning phase. Shy will have a little bit better odds with this one, but right now they're pretty equal.
Equal stuff. Went for the same items right off the get-go as well. Of course, it's 475 start with the Red Elixir and the Health Pot coming out. Shy actually already popping his for this.
I don't know if it's going to be too early because he's not hitting Stanley right now. And the thing is, this game, we've seen a lot of these duels actually go for a good 10 minutes or so where people have chugged through 3 or 4 elixirs.
and I'm just not sure you necessarily want to waste yours right away, but Stanley's going to go in on Shy right away.
Wow, going straight in onto this one. The exhaust actually coming down, the igniter down as well. This could actually turn to be the first kill from this one. Shy going super low. Stanley takes a turret hit as well. Is Shy going to go in there? Is he going to have a go at this one? He's very low. This is risky stuff. What Flo's decided, let's not do it yet.
The thing is, he's got his snipe. That's the thing. Shy was wondering. I wasn't sure whether he was going to maybe try and pop him with the snipe there, but instead didn't go for it. Wow, very, very tight. That's all Summoner Spells used. Everything blown right there.
Yeah, and instead you're kind of left with Shy, the only one alone in the lane, so he's actually pulled up a minion kill lead out of this one. Stanley took that turret shot and it lost in the lane so far.
More minions, so 16 to 10. This one, Shy is going to go back. Stanley, of course, has already come back into play. Picked himself up a cloth armor. Certainly not a bad choice in an AD carry versus AD carry lane.
It's actually what we saw happen in the, was it Diamond versus Troll matchup, where the Caitlyn went back and could only afford cloth armor. Was like, well, shoot, I got to grab that. He was seeing Shy, right? He's winning in minions. He's going for the Doran's Blade.
Yeah, he made sure he got the siege minion before he backed off. That was the main thing. He made sure he got that extra 40 gold to go back and top himself up as well. He stayed on the fountain just that a little bit longer. He's full health. We'll see whether Stanley goes for any aggression over Shy. I feel that Shy could probably just sit and farm this one on his turret now.
He'll only be up one minion though, so it's not the worst thing in the world for Stanley. He can't pull him back, but he got a lot of free damage from Shy for nothing.
He pulled it too early there. He didn't actually land it. Pulled it, trying to get a little bit too aggressive. Not gun shy.
Not quite getting it out.
I thought you were making a Gun Wound reference actually, and I got confused.
Yeah, I wasn't really on the same page there either. Could just be the heat
advanced level jokes. I
Too good for us, D-Man.
Yeah, we're still on pun level. We haven't got onto the jokes just yet. Stanley, go on.
Are you saying my puns aren't jokes?
I never said that for
You've told me some of your puns this weekend, and some of them have been horrendous.
How dare you?
The slow goes down from Stanley on Shy. Doesn't bother following. Yes, he does. Puts the expunge, but he's just out of range actually from the expunge arrow field. Didn't really make it count. The CS going back and forth. You can see Shy's actually starting to develop a bit of a lead over Stanley here in terms of CS, which honestly I feel he may well get to. But remember, both these are AD champions, so they could potentially push the tower down as well. But both of them trying to be aggressive. That's Shy once again. That hail of arrows has just felt a little bit too short because he's thinking Stanley's coming in for it. Now he definitely is.
Well, Stanley's got a little bit of time where he still has Red Elixir. This is a very small window to go in for this.
He's going to go in for it as well. Shy taking a lot of damage there. He's the expunge juice, and they're going to go head-to-head. One more hit, and Shy gets it just about. He's going to win the game.
He leveled up to 5 just at the last few seconds during that fight. He hit a minion, got 5, bam.
Wow, and
difference.
Wow, with 30 health.
He's like, can I run over there? And I want to see Stanley. I want to run over to him.
And Stanley's like, he hit.
He's like, damn.
Level 5.
Damn.
We're in that fight.
That's harsh. Yeah, Stanley is about 3 minions away. I'm actually looking at his bar right there.
And here comes Shy. This is great to see the sportsmanship. I mean, these two players, you know, they've probably played each other in tournaments a number of times, certainly the World Finals, and Shy's probably thinking, yeah, got some revenge, man. And then Stanley just picks up and says, he's in this ring.
Yeah.
He's in this ring.
Well, they could always meet in the finals again here.
Absolutely, they could.
That is very true. There's still a real possibility of that. And of course, we've not seen the Garena All-Stars in action just yet. We still don't quite know what to expect from them.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I'm looking forward to all the matches here. Of course, we've still got the mid laner matches coming as well, which are going to be really great. The finals of all the skill matches are going to be tomorrow as well. And then we got 2 BO3s of really, really good BO3s, an NAEU rivalry. You know, China LPL versus Garena. Like this is still going to be a great game.
Okay,
great
so
day.
let's just look towards the final, because that is now Shy versus Soaz.
Yep.
Couldn't quite remember that. Now that's an AD carry going towards a Nunu. Are we thinking Nunu's going to get banned? Are you thinking he's going to say, okay, I can counter that with an AD carry?
Well, it's interesting because Soaz banned a bunch of AD carries when he was, in his match as well. So he knows to respect those types of champions. So I would expect that Nunu gets banned out, yes, and Soaz got to pick something else. And I just don't know what his pecking order is, though.
unless Shy has been preparing his Nunu specifically for this one. I don't think so as a ban. We may end up seeing two Nunus snowballing at each other the entire time.
Snowballs. Oh god, that game would go on forever.
It would go to 100 minions.
It would absolutely.
That's
100%.
Yeah.
That's the game where a barrier can really make the difference, or a flash. You know, that whoever gets that biggest distance from the snowball, it's going to follow
Double
you either way.
zero going on. Yeah, they're both just stood next to each other.
The funny thing about that is, like, if they're both low and they're both channeling absolute zero, right? It deals more damage the longer you channel.
Who's got the nerves?
Who
off
blinks first?
You've got to cancel it first to deal damage first. But if you don't do enough damage, he gets to kill you.
It's a
and
game
you've got to
of
map
nerves.
out absolute zero's damage.
So if we're going to get a double Lee Sin, maybe they're going to get to so we have a double Nunu.
We should definitely talk to the players tonight, see if we can organise that one to happen. But coming up, of course, the world's best middle players make their way to the main stage for their skills competition semi-final matches. Guys, the 2013 League of Legends All-Star Weekend will return right after this. 2013 League of Legends All-Star Weekend. In just a few minutes, the best mids in the world will take to the stage. But before they do that, let's have a look back at today's results from the top lane skill competition.
In game one, it was everyone's favorite. Nunu Soaz taking down China's PDD. And the second game, it was Korea's LCL Shy beating out Garena All-Star Stanley.
And now it's time for the mids to meet in their 1v1 skills competition. Remember, to win these matches, players must first either draw first blood, as we've seen in the two games there, kill 100 creeps, or be the first to take down a tower.
So let's take a look at the All-Star mids. From the North American LCS, it was Skara from Dignitas. Representing the European LCS, it's Gambit BenQ's Alex Ich.
And for the Garena All-Stars, it is TPA's Toys. Seems a fan favorite here. From Garena LCL, it's Ambition. From CJ Enters Blaze. And from the Chinese LPL All-Stars, it's Team WE's Messiah. 4.5 million votes for that man.
That is a couple.
That's a lot.
That's quite a few votes, so let's be honest. If you consider how many people overall voted as well, a big ratio for him. But in Thursday's mid-lane playing games, Europe's Alex Ich did take down North America's Skara with an early kill, which means that Skara, of course, has been eliminated from the competition. So with the field down to just 4 remaining players, what do you guys think has got the most chance to come through from this mid-lane skills competition?
I actually really like Alex because so he didn't do really well in his quarterfinal match yesterday, and people kind of gave him a little bit of crap, but he's always been a supremely good 1v1 player in that lane. He's got a huge champion pool, right? We saw him play Tryndamere mid. We've seen that from him a while back as well in tournaments. So he's got a million champions he can play, and he's really good mechanically.
I just hope he doesn't pull out Tryndamere because that didn't work out too well. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Well, European, we're allowed to say that.
We're allowed to say that, yeah. If Freak said it, whoa, the pitchforks would have been ready, I tell you. We're, of course, going to see how that works out later on in the day. But personally, for me, it's good to see Messiah in there. And, 4.5 million votes don't lie. This guy has done well. But ZZ Tide, you've got to think, is maybe done better than him from IG in China. So maybe not the best candidate for a 1v1 tournament right now. But personally, Ambition for me is the man, because Blaze have been literally on fire lately, and he seems to be the one to watch.
So while each of these mid-lane superstars definitely have their own style of play, they all agree that each of their positions is the linchpin that holds a team together.
I think mid lane is honestly probably the most important lane in the game.
제일 게임에서 영향력이 제일 크다고 볼 수 있는 그런 포지션이라서
I would say that in current meta, mid and jungle are the most important places to be in.
中路是一个前期跟中期会跟 jungle 搭配的一个英雄，所以他们可以带动前面的风向。
It puts pressure on every lane in the game, including your own, and it allows you to establish map control as early as possible.
At the moment, mid is really versatile. You can play farm hero like Karthus, Orianna, and try to be real threat in team fights, or you can play some AD assassins and try to roam all over the map.
상대편의 로밍 못 가게 하는 거 중요하고 내가 로밍을 가는 것도 중요하고 그런 걸 되게 조율을 잘 맞춰서 하시는 게 좋을 것 같아요.
我觉得 Skara 已经是一名沉迷已久的中单选手了吧。至于怎么做的话，我觉得就是打出我自己的风格，然后跟团队配合好就行了。
I just want to play against all the mid laners here. They're some of the best players from each of the regions, and I'm just here to get better and show that I can be as good as them.
All right, it's almost time for our first mid-lane skill competition match, so let's meet the players.
So on the blue side, representing the Garena All-Stars, this time around, it's TPA's Toys.
And on the red side, representing the Korean LCL All-Stars, CJ Enters Blaze's Ambition.
Well, this seems like a pretty even matchup, to be honest, between Toys and Ambition, but who do you guys see this game possibly going down to?
If it was 8 months ago, I would have said without a shadow of a doubt Toys.
Yeah.
He was on the world champion team. He seemed to beat every single person he was against in the mid lane, and everyone was like, yeah, Toys is probably the best mid laner in the world. Pretty sure he's just freaking phenomenal, no one can touch him. But it's funny because we see his team so rarely, everyone kind of forgets and is like, well, I don't know if he's good anymore.
Yeah, and I think he is. I really think he is. And honestly, for Ambition, do you think it's a little bit of don't worry, Rapid Star, I got you back. I'll get revenge for you from this one?
It's certainly a possibility, right? Like, these guys are good friends. I actually tried to ask Ambition if he was going to win his OGN Champions semifinal against Frost, and he said sure. So maybe he doesn't quite have his back. They could be out for blood there, but either way, it's certainly going to be a fun match here.
Oh, look, there you go. Ken and Nunu back down straight away. Jace taken away. Not surprising, actually, Jace. That's kind of a common one because he's annoying in lane.
Yeah. There's no doubt about the fact that Jason, we've seen Kennen and how annoying he can be in there. Nunu, we don't even need to discuss that. We've seen that once today already. Draven taken out once again. There's another Annie ban as well. So pretty standard, if you look at what we've seen already over the course of the All-Stars in terms of bans.
And I'm curious how much this is, because these are hitting, very, very similar champions every single time. How much is that is people who are watching the games on the big screen and saying, oh, he banned Annie. Yeah, Annie must be a big deal. I should ban that too. Or how much of it is like they all came to the same conclusion all at the same time in isolation. It was like, actually, guys, these are the champions.
Caitlyn banned out, and it's looking like Quinn might get selected. We who have seen banned most of the time, actually. He's got teleport.
Yeah. I don't think he actually needs TP Flash. I think it's still a holdover from his his match against Europe.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot more sense. There we go.
I mean, you can use teleport. It's not against the rules, but honestly, that lane is so short that
you can use revive too.
Revive, you can.
Actually, technically,
I have to think about that for a second. There, like, what's your point? Oh yeah, First Blood wins the game. Don't need no revives. He doesn't bring you back.
Oh my God!
Smite.
Oh, this would be awesome. Now that would be a good choice. That would be a dangerous choice as well, Fizz.
It's interesting too because Quinn would just would jump off of Fizz as he dives forward. You'd have like a cool acrobatics show like we're watching Ka or something. It'd be pretty great.
Oh, he's just going to flick through a wall. He's definitely not going to be going with a boo-boo. Come on, Toys, make your mind up time. I wonder if he's just hitting that random button.
He's clicking all the short champions. It was Poppy, then it was...
Are you trying to say Toys is short?
No, I'm saying his champion choices. How dare you? His name is short. It's only 4
Oh,
it's manly of him.
Yeah. Getting that Demacia shout out there for the crowd.
This one's definitely an AD, Jarvan, for what it's worth. I know we've determined, you're going to go AP Annie or AD Annie. I'm just saying, I'm gonna put it out there. I think it's AD Jarvan the fourth.
So I think so too. I think you'll be right on that one.
The Dragonlance is Dragonlance. Did Dragonlance? I can't remember the damn name of it. The
Dragon Strike.
Dragon Strike. Quick shot. Sorry.
We were letting you down, man.
Sorry, man. I'm letting the side down while you're not here to keep me updated with the spell names. He's good like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to actually be quite a pain in lane. I'm thinking back to the original Jarvan when you used to run him fairly AD heavy at the start. You just poke.
Well, for what it's worth, he did get the flag toss first, so no Dragon Strikes early on.
Demacia standards.
Demacia standards, that one, yes.
I know that one. I know that one.
Spamming emotes. I always like when they put on a show for us.
Toys is Ambition's hiding. He's like, I can hide behind this. Oh, little crossbow pops out.
This is interesting, a bit of a lore match as well. There's a theory that Quinn is a bit of a thing for Jarvan, so... I mean, this could be...
There's a theory? There's a theory of the lore?
Well, I don't know how official it is. I mean, she certainly respects him a lot, but some people like to speculate that... just saying, I don't know.
Starting rumors here.
I'm just putting it out there. We're already going for blood, though. Look at that vault damage.
Yeah, we just saw the flag come out, actually landing straight in the middle of the minions. And, well, certainly didn't do the damage that he would have wanted from that one. And Ambition, you can see, already just trying to push him as far away as he possibly can from the minions. We should look at the summon spells here: an Exhaust, Ignite for Toys, and a Ignite Barrier for Ambition.
Well, he's already missing out on CS, so we know he's not going to be going for the CS hit. Instead, it's going to really be an all-in-you feel until Toys is eventually going to go for. But that's just annoying already. He is going to hit level 2. Doesn't get the knock-up though, but he's going to put a lot of damage down. There's the barrier being used up there. Ignite went down on him as well. Now he's going to turn around and put some damage of his own down on Toys.
That was a really, really good trade. He has burned the red elixir already, though. Oh, he gets the knockup!
He's going to get him!
He's in trouble. He's going to go down, and Toys lures him in there.
He does the misfortune few guns, and yet then he's straight up. He's like, gotcha.
And he didn't use the elixir. He had an elixir to use, and he didn't use it. And you see Ambition's like, what? What just happened
It's
to
like,
me?
is that it? Is that it? Do we know what, best of 3?
1 minute.
They didn't beat the America's record, though.
No, 1 minute and 52 seconds, which I did not expect in that game there.
No, I know Jarvan can do a whole bunch at level 2. The EQ combo, go jump on someone, it's pretty powerful, but I was like, all right, so early lane is going to suck a little bit. Maybe he can combo. And then Ambition just showed back up and just fell over.
The thing is, he didn't even land his combo when he first went in.
No.
He missed it.
Yeah.
He
got
stepped
close.
back, then had to use the exhaust and the ignite and just like... "Ugh." And it was actually, ironically, it was Ambition's mistake by going back in. Because
Sure.
he was back at the tower, could have just gone back to heal up, because it's a quick walk.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to give up the early minion lead, knowing that
he'd already got a 6 minion lead.
Yeah, but it's the kind of thing where it's like if you get out leveled by Jarvan, your life just kind of sucks because he like hits 5 and you're like, oh, I can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh god, he's going to beat me to 6.
Yeah, right? And then it's dunk
I'm a
time, man.
bird. I'm a bird.
And you can't fly over Cataclysm.
But you can fly around in very fast circles, that's for sure. And the fact is, I don't think Jarvan was even expecting that Quinn would come back in. The barrier he had there and Elixir, that's very, very safe to start things off. But we have to give credit over to the winner of this one, of course, Toys, picking up the victory against Ambition. He'll go through to tomorrow's grand final in the mid lane skill competition. We'll be back with our second semi-final in just a little while, but we're going to send it down to the interview lounge where Shox is waiting with Nijaki.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm actually on the floor here in the middle of the crowd. Now, Nijaki, you're of course mid laner for Team Curse. How would you have taken down Toys?
Like, Jarvan's really good 1v1 champion. I don't think Queen is like good pick. I think Vayne's better because Vayne have a dash, like can jump out of the combo. As you can see how Jarvan beat Queen is just land the combo and go on him with his exhaust. And always as a bruiser is like better than a carry, especially early game as like 1v1 map. I think I would take Nunu. Nunu is, if you watch the last game, it's a PTD versus Sois. Like Nunu just so tanky with the barrier and consume. The sustain is like insane. And if you take Nunu this game against Jarvan, Nunu is gonna win like no matter what. Because the snowball, the attack speed slow and the moving speed slow, it's so annoying.
Annoying Nunu. Now, of course, you wanted to play in this competition, but it turned out to be Skara. But are you still enjoying the event? It's amazing to be here.
Yeah, of course. Like, it's always good to be here, meeting fans and watch the games and talk to other people, players from other countries, and especially Chinese team, because I actually speak Chinese and I talk to them in Chinese. And also, I'm like translator for AN team. And I take them for the Chinese dinner last night with my family. It's like really good, legit.
Amazing. Well, we're very glad to have you here, Nijaki. Enjoy the rest of your time here. As for us, we'll be heading back over to the desk.
Thanks a lot, Shox. It's about time for our second mid-lane semi-final of the day. So let's not waste any time here. Let's get in and meet the players.
Yes, of course. On the blue side, representing the European LCS All-Stars from Gambit BenQ, it is Alex Each.
And meanwhile, on the red side, representing the Chinese LPL All-Stars, the home player, Team WE's Messiah.
This is obviously a home crowd here, guys, for Messiah.
Yeah.
But there's a real question about this one. We hear there in the background that the crowd are definitely behind Messiah, but we have to answer another question about this. Will it give him a home field advantage, or can it end up actually putting extra pressure on him, especially since this is 1v1? He's got no other 4 players around him this time.
You just saw him there. Down. He's like, it's just the crowd. They were calling his name out. That was all in Mandarin. He knew exactly what they were saying. He's got the headsets on, but when there's 8,000 people cheering, you're like, it's probably me. It's probably me. But Alex actually looked a little nervous there as well. These guys, they're taking it super seriously here. They want to win this.
Yeah, I mean, when the dull roar gets louder, you realize it's probably for yourself more so than for your opposition. And it's going to be interesting. We've seen so many different things at this point, different ways of winning, different champion picks, the Jarvan versus Quinn. So I can't exactly call picks out, but there's certainly at least respecting.
We can call bans out.
Yeah, we can call bans. Draven,
it's going to be Annie, Kennen. Whoa, of course. Now that's actually targeted. Alex uses Yi.
His AP Yi, his AD
you remember
for Dimir. Yeah,
I remember the IPL, yeah.
I'm interested, though, because we've seen Zyra banned but not yet picked. I can imagine her being very, very good at the plants, but even though they would give away minion kills and like would edge your opponents toward the victory there, a lot of respect for Zyra.
Are we going to see Twisted Fate?
No, actually, these are both interesting picks and both work really, really well. And the ironic thing is, it's almost probably AP Tristana and AD Janna, for what that's worth.
Well, right now he's switched off to Ziggs, which...
Okay, if it were...
Hey, I'm a big Ziggs fan. I'm not going to lie. We're seeing the Ziggs bombs being thrown around. By the way, if you're seeing these balls getting thrown out, the little Ziggs bombs are awesome. There's a few little Lulu cupcakes as well.
I try and dodge them every time I see him, to be honest. Playing too much Aaron with Demon. Ziggs, which is a bit of a terror. But it is going to be Tristana locked in here then for Alexic, so that's all said and done. Messiah still scratching his chin, thinking, Ziggs, is it going to be Ziggs? Do I want to stick with Ziggs?
He's trying to get in the mind of a Russian right now.
Doesn't
mind
work.
of Alexic, it doesn't work.
And this would be an interesting pairing anyway, just because it's Yorls who love explosions a lot. And so that would be kind of just a cool little match made in heaven. I wonder if he's concerned, though. I actually did see Bomb Dogs running around before the first day. It was like, I mean, we have little Ziggs plushies, like this is a little tenuous.
See, now, this is where Messiah, whether we test his knowledge, will he go with pool party Ziggs?
He better.
Because Dustin Beck is here.
Orianna.
Oh, he's gone with Orianna. Orianna, okay. Orianna Tristana. I got to give this to Tristana.
It's interesting because like there's so many ways you could play it. You could actually just max shield on Orianna, gives you free resist, gives you a pretty big shield. The duration of the shield's long enough to actually block explosive shot. So you could actually just like remove the whole Tristana E and just auto attack people because her passive is so strong. I have no idea that's how it's going to be played, but it's one opportunity here.
Well, it's not gone into Orianna blind with that one. We saw how, you know, where am I going? He thought about that for a very
Alex
long
was
time.
thinking about it, but Messiah, he was like practicing some APM speed clicking thing going on there. He was like a mission on that mouse. Whereas Alex was just sort of sat back going,
I'm ready for this one.
I'm ready for this.
Let's get into it then. Our second semi-final of the mid-lane skill competition. Of course, the winner is going to be playing tomorrow, day 3. Yeah, tomorrow for some of us at least. Obviously, it'll still be Saturday night for you Americans out there. But the winner of that last one, Toys, will be waiting for whoever is able to pick up this one.
So I want to call out how interesting their builds are because Alex is AP Tristana. It's 33 ability power base. He's got the 8% magic pen. He's going to just be doing explosive shot damage. Messiah has 8% armor pen, 5 flat armor pen, 55 attack damage. It's kind and a red elixir. It's basically AD Orianna versus AP Tristana.
And why not? They're already putting the ball on his head, defensive ball, and that's a fairly tight exchange, but you've got to feel Alex may well have come out a little bit less on Messiah there. Of course, you've got to give it possibly to Alex Hitchfloor in terms of CS. You expect him to be last hitting with that explosive shot a lot further away.
It's going to be difficult.
Say that, he missed one.
yeah, sure. The funny thing about this is there's a mixed match in elixirs, though, because Alex's is 100 gold cheaper. So if they just trade like this, Alex gets more potions out of this whole encounter. But yeah, Messiah with the base damage is passive actually has an easier time last hitting individual minions.
And more importantly, Messiah's already used his potions.
Yeah.
Alex is just selling it right now. He has missed a few CS, though. It's very unlike Alex, but you wouldn't expect Messiah to be missing too much. Of course, we could see him start rocket jumping on his head. He has picked up rocket jump, so it's clearly goes for that bounciness and jumps straight on towards Messiah.
Well, I don't know if he'd be Messiah without missing a few minions, but we'll see what he ends up doing with that one. The wave has been cleared out. Messiah, though, he's still got that minion lead.
Still up 11 to 10. It's a short lead, but these next waves coming in. Let's see how it goes. We'll propel everyone up in towards that level 3 stage. We'll see if that will bring us some action into this one. Right now, a tense game. Both players try to get themselves through into that grand final.
A lot of CS being missed by Alex there was. Maybe he's focusing a little bit more on his actual real target, which is almost certainly going to be Messiah. There's no way he's going for a CS victory here.
No, and the thing is, that's what you do with AP Tristana. Your ratios are so freaking high. It's like 1.5 on the ultimate. It's a full, I think, 1 on the explosive shot. And then rocket jump as well is about 0.7, 0.8. So he's got like, what, 3.25 AP ratio at his disposal? Like, he can burst out Messiah without too much difficulty.
See the shield doing work for Messiah at this point. As you said, those potions, Alex is burning through them time after time. Well, look at that CS lead already. It's 24 to 12.
He'll bring it a little bit last thing in the turret, but that's going to pretty much withstand. Alex must win by killing Messiah. I think he's going to have a really rough time winning otherwise. And Messiah is actually going for that max shield. He's got 2 points in it already just to withstand that Tristana burst damage.
Okay, so question right now. We're going to be probably hitting level 6 before this one. It certainly goes the distance. Is it all about Messiah waiting with that shockwave, or is because Alex can of course just rocket jump out of it, and his reactions are certainly going to be quick enough to get out of that?
I don't think you can actually respond to Shockwave. Well, I guess you could, yeah. You could respond to Shockwave with Rocket Jump if you wanted to, if you knew the mechanics right. But at the same time, Messiah doesn't have to go kill Alex. He could wait for it defensively, basically. If he's crazy amazing, he can actually kill a Rocket Jump and wait for him to jump in and actually pull him back out of range, which I doubt but is possible. Messiah could just buy a Doran's Blade and last hit minions and let Alex come to him.
Double Longsword and a Doran's Blade and a Longsword, sorry, as you just called it. Straight away, Alex is going to be keeping on farming here. Still hasn't used that pot yet, remember?
Yeah, he's just waiting. Like, he bought it in case there was a big all-in he had to react to. He actually puts it now, saying, look, I'm going to go on you now that you bought your longswords.
Them longswords are hurting.
Yeah, Messiah really starting to hurt there. The Chinese crowd getting very excited about that one here in the background. Alex actually going to try and back from this one. Messiah going to throw the ball in there. Actually, he's doing good damage as well. And puts the shield on. Thought he might have had a bit of a poke back at him there, back and forth, but in the end decides, let's not risk it. Right now, I'm nicely in the lead.
He's got, yeah, he does bonus 19 damage from his passive. He's got 88 attack damage right now as well. And speaking of Messiah, auto attack trades are not in Alex's favor whatsoever. And Command's Protect's cooldown is shorter than that of Explosive Shot. So if Messiah's just patient and only shields Explosive Shot, he'll never get out-traded.
So what do we see Alex going to buy then? Is he going to go Doran's Rings? What's he going for here?
Doran's Ring probably makes the most sense. He might re-up on the Blue Elixir depending on when he actually goes back to base. He's at 930 gold right now, so it might be finish the minion wave, buy a double Doran's Ring, get a couple health potions, and then try for it at level 6. He'll have enough time of his Blue Elixir to actually fight at 6 with Elixir still.
I'm interested. He's just used the mana pot, which means he's not planning on going back anytime soon. He's going to be sticking around that little bit longer here.
I'm unsure. He definitely needs to buy before he goes for the combo, and the longer he waits, the better Messiah is. Command Protect will outscale Explosive Shot. 6 is actually his best level.
Not sure why he wouldn't rocket jump back there.
I don't know. I mean, the
Saving that
cooldown's
mana.
fairly long. Yeah, he's saving the mana on the fountain, definitely. It's a 20-second cooldown, but still, like, yeah, you're right. He definitely could have gone for it. So, I think this is the window here for Alex.
Well, we'll see whether he goes for it. He's going to hit level 6 shortly. There it is. See whether he goes aggressive. He needs to clear out those waves. He's fell way behind in the CS, and he's actually going to miss out, almost missed out on that final one. Now he's going to start jumping around.
Okay.
Going to go a little bit more aggressive, but we see another Doran's Blade coming out, and a ward being put down by Alex in lane there.
So he wants to basically just spot Ori's moves and not let him sneak around. Like, we'll see if it pans out. I mean, he certainly wants control of the lane and the vision, but he knows it's kind of like he has to all in the next like 5 minutes or the next 3 or so minutes because he will lose to minions if he doesn't make a move.
Yeah, he's a good chunk already behind on this one. You can see Messiah saying, push him out, let him come to the turret. I am more than capable and happy to be doing that underneath the turret here with this one. And honestly, Alex can't really, with that Command Protect, get under the turret with him here, especially now that there's double Doran's Blade and that longsword in there for Messiah.
I feel like Alex should want to freeze the lane so that Messiah can't left it on turret and just go in for a fight at some point. Command Protect shield will end right here. I guess he's doing the math and saying, I don't burst hard enough. I can't bring Orianna full to dead.
Yeah, and he's worried about that shockwave as well. So if he rocket jumps in, he's going to jump into a defensive ball and a shockwave. That's going to hurt. He's level 7 first, so he has that level advantage. Maybe gone for some experience runes. I didn't see where he went. I mean, judging by the turn mouse CS, he's missed. It's almost certainly probably going to be that. He's gone back to base here as well. Gets himself a second Doran's Ring. So it's going to be now or never, I feel.
Yeah, up to 67 minions already. It's going to be over 70 by the end. This wave goes out now, and Alex has to start making a move. And we've seen a lot of players really bringing it down to that very last minute, but he can't always afford to do that one because he can get them low and then, not even then have a second try for it. But I guess there's a point where Alex knows that he has to get to before he can go for it.
I'm going to go ahead and last hit well under the turret. He's just so far behind. I mean, like, we're basically just waiting for Alex to make a move because as it stands, Messiah's getting farther and farther ahead.
3 Doran's Blades now. Messiah's got
Yeah.
1,200 hit points and like 114 attack damage plus his passive. Alex is having just a rougher time as time goes on. It's getting worse and worse.
And Alex actually is going to be walking back here once again. And
300 gold.
Don't like using that rocket jump, does he?
No. And now he's walking back in after buying or
Brilliant
pick
spot.
up the
Yeah.
brilliance. Yeah.
Back up on a couple of potions. I mean, this is his best all-in chance. He pops the elixir, have about 100 ability power. So he'll have about 340 extra burst damage on top of his base damages, which are, I'd say, around 400 as well themselves. So he can take about half Messiah's health down, and that's kind of it.
Which is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem for Alex, not a problem for Messiah, and the home crowd favorite. Well, they'll be happy with this one if they can turn it out. He's going to go aggressive here, heading in towards Messiah. Dodges away at the attack ball there. Forces Messiah back in lane, but Messiah's just playing so passively, so defensively. Knows really that he has such a big CS advantage. There's no reason for him to go for it. He's going to be rocket jump across though. There's the shockwave, pulls him across. It's actually a pretty even exchange between the two.
Yeah, but now you're just 19 minutes away. The Ultimate Persona is only a 1-minute cooldown, so we'll get it back before Messiah wins the game for minions.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming in on towards Alex, and honestly, Messiah is going to risk here. Alex actually jumps in towards him. There's the ball barrier used by Alex, ignites it down. First up, Messiah. He's going to win and go through to the final to take on Toys.
Absolutely great play by Messiah. You hear the crowd cheering for him, the fist in the air, saying, "Yep, I did it." AD Orianna, definitely a great duelist.
Interesting mid-lane champions choices we've seen here between the two guys. So now it's going to be Toys versus Messiah in that grand final. That is going to be good.
And we've seen them pick crazy things as well. It's AD Orianna, Jarvan.
That was a shot fired towards Toys.
Oh.
Orianna, we can play it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Orianna duel.
Didn't use his skin though because it's not available unfortunately for him yet. that would be the ultimate kick.
That would be
I'm
funny.
going to beat you with your own skin.
With your own skin. Oh my gosh. And I'm trying to think.
Stanley, yeah. He went with Shen. So he's not going to use that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you could do it. Just spam Vorpal blades on people. We have Nunu, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm saying, most of the TPA skins are actually getting played in the skills competition.
It's almost like they knew what they were doing back in
Seen
the
as
World
real.
Finals.
I think they knew what they were doing. That's why they're the ones, with the cup, with the trophy.
And the rings.
Yeah, with the rings as well. And a nice balance in the bank account, that's for sure. Maybe. I don't know how they've gone about spending all that stuff, but certainly deserve, that's for sure. But coming up, of course, the most popular player in the world, China's Messiah will join us here in the interview lounge. Then it's time for our first tournament match of the game, where the teams of North America and Europe are going to face off. Certainly a mouth-watering game. Don't go anywhere, guys. The 2013 League of Legends All-Star event will be right back after this.
Welcome back to the 2013 League of Legends All-Star Weekend, live from Shanghai, China. And right now, Jad and I are excited to be joined by the Chinese LPL's Messiah. Congratulations on the 1v1 win.
Thanks.
What is 1v1 practice like? How did you do it?
我跟我的All Star 的队友有练习很多 solo 的练习。
He practiced his teammate from All Star team.
And yesterday, you guys were victorious over North America. What impressions did you get from the North American team playing against them?
你昨天看到他们打的，就是 Toys 还有北美的，对你印象最深的北美队你是什么样的？你印象最深的就是北美他们的打法呀，他们的策略啊。
我觉得北美的团战牛打法，然后还有他们的一套体系，非常的让我们吃惊。没有想到他们能打出这样的一套战术，就是很肉很肉。
They are super surprised for the strategy of the North American. Like North American team like to team fight and build super tanky. So China team is super surprised.
So what does it mean to you to be chosen as the all-star of your region?
对选择全明星对你意味着什么？
我觉得它对我意味着一个很大的荣耀，也同时给了我一个非常非常非常大的压力，因为能代表中国这么大一个国家的那个位置去参加这个比赛，实在是太荣幸了。
It means a great honor to him. Also, it's a great opportunity that to represent China to fight in the All-Star. That's great.
And within the All-Star team, with 3 members of Team WE and 2 members of IG, what was it like playing with the IG members? Or what has it been like playing with the IG members?
Say again?
What is it like playing with 2 people from the other team?
说这次有3个 WE 的，2个 IG 的，你觉得跟 IG 的人一起合作感觉如何？
我觉得挺愉快的，他们的个人能力都非常的不错。然后这一次我们有一次全新的体验，一个新的队伍、新的打法，跟我们以前的 WE 是完全不一样的。
再说一遍。
我说跟 IG 的配合，他们非常的不错，因为他们的个人实力都很强。然后我觉得这一次在这个新的队伍是一次非常好的体验，因为这跟以前的 WE 完全不一样。
You say 2 members from IG is just super good at personal skills, and they will have a very good experience and brand new feel compared with Team Waterloo.
All right, Messiah, thank you very much for taking time out of the busy day to join us, and best of luck to the Chinese LPL squad and the rest of the tournament.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, we're going to send it back over to D-Man, Freak, and Joe at the desk.
Thanks a lot, Riv. And now we've got a special treat for you. Some of the best League of Legends cosplayers in the world are getting ready here to set up and take the stage.
And today they'll be trying to figure out whether it was Shen, Akali, or Zed who betrayed the clan.
Some fantastic cosplay there, Demon, and they scouted me early on. They tried to get me up there as a Gragas, but I was having none of it.
I'd have been your wingman, man. We could have both got bellies out and gone for it.
I was actually there as Timo. You might not have seen me. I was standing still.
All right, guys. Earlier on, we asked you to send us in some questions that you've always wanted to ask either us or the players. So it's time to have a little bit of a Twitter AMA.
That's dangerous, because last time I did an AMA, I got about 500 questions in 20 minutes. I was just like, what do I do?
Wasn't fast enough.
No.
But let's get on to the first one. At Conclus asks, what surprised you the most about the All-Star Games from yesterday?
I was actually surprised that everything ended up being a 2-0. I thought the games were going to be... the games actually were really, really close. You know, the North American squad, by all rights, probably should have won the second game and couldn't quite close it out. And you saw the first game between EU and Korea where, honestly, all of Diamond's games, I thought, all right, they'll take game one. And we never saw game three, though.
They were 5-2 up in kills, and then they just kind of threw it at the Dragon a little bit. And the same in North America. They were 5K up in 18 minutes. And then they didn't manage to get it through. What had surprised me most was really Korea's. Their sheer coordination. Absolutely phenomenal yesterday.
Yeah, this is a team that's obviously still in the middle of their season, we shouldn't forget. And they've not had much time to practice. They're going to be going back to finish off Ocean champions.
There's like 4 different teams in that team. It's not like most of them are 3-2. They're all split, and yet they just played better than everyone here so far.
The thing is, everyone's going to want to practice against them because Korea's so competitive.
Yeah.
Getting that extra spot from winning the All-Star Weekend team tournament, like one of those players could be on the extra team that gets through. Like, they're motivated. Everyone else is like, well, we could be the whatever.
We could be the
team.
4th team, yeah.
Right. Like, there's so much at stake for everyone in that region.
Well, let's have a look at our second question then. Dragon9888 asks, Soaz versus Dyrus, who do you think will make the biggest impact in the game? Which, of course, will be Europe versus North American LCS All-Stars. That will be coming up, actually, in just a little while.
To me, I actually want to say Soaz. As long as he's able to play like his play style from Fnatic, Dyrus is super consistent. Dyrus is super good, and I don't want to take that away from him, but Soaz is a playmaker of a player, right? He grabs more individualist champions and makes plays and makes an impact.
Well, we saw yesterday, North America, it's got to be double lift. Obviously, he was so strong, absolutely dominant performance. Just the rest of the team weren't quite on his wavelength at times, but going back to Europe, I think Alex Ich, because for me, he's not turned up to this tournament yet, which is a little harsh. The guy is like the most awesome guy you'll ever meet. He's like really true and honorable. Honestly, he's true to life. He's like you guys tried to sabotage him yesterday.
Don't get me in this one.
You guys tried to sabotage him with that question, asking him, would he who's the best star in their team, and he was just like, that's a horrible question to ask me.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, in that 1v1, okay, it's blind pick, so you can't really judge it too much, but you saw the look on his face. He looked kind of not vacant, but he didn't seem to be the pumped up Alex Ich that we usually see. Hopefully, for them at least, for Europe, that changes around. Let's have a look at the next one then. It's got Freak in there. How does Riot Freak come up with his amazing puns? And that is from Starlux. Freak, share the world, share your secrets with all of us.
So it's actually a flag that comes off in my head. When I hear a word with two meanings, I'm just like, I take like a half second and think, can I think of another word really easily? So like death sentence to death paragraph was like, oh yeah, okay, I got it, right? And then I'll save it away for later. The other half actually get written by our amazing LCS writing crew though. So I have to give a big shout out to Ben Winters who writes about half my
cheating.
puns.
Honestly,
we don't get that in Europe. We have to do it ourselves.
That's right.
He should do the other half because he's funnier than you as well. Sorry, Freak.
Oh, it's completely fair.
That was only a joke.
No, sure.
But guys, keep those questions coming. Of course, we are at LOL Esports, and make sure you use that hashtag All-Star. Before the All-Star teams head into the Rift, let's take a look back at today's 4 semi-final skill competition matches.
Yeah, in the top lane semi-finals, it was technically a top semi-final as well. It was Europe SOAS taking out China's PDD in grand style with that Nunu. And the second match, Korea's Shy blasted past Garena's Stanley in very, very quick style.
Absolutely. The games were so different, too. It's what I'd like to see from these matchups is how they're differently played. So, obviously, Nunu comes in there as a sustained monster. The AD carry trade was hilarious as well, where man, Parrish just barely leveled, and Stanley would have had him.
Almost there, of course. In the mid lane, the skill match is the Garena All-Stars Toys. Well, he dismantled Ambition very, very quick. The Jarvan coming out. Nobody saw that one coming. And while China's Messiah, well, he took Europe's Alex Ich out in slow, steady, controlled style on Orianna.
So that's going to be a really fun matchup as well because there's completely different players. They're Messiah, right? Play the steady games that I'll out-trade you for days and eventually I'll win, no big deal. I'll just have my mechanics back it up. And the other side, it's just like Toy saying, I'll just kill you, whatever. So, I mean, if those guys pick the same champions, they play the same styles, it's going to be a really explosive match.
So then, with the semi-finals of the skill competition complete, let's have a look at the final matchups. First of all, in the 2v2 final, it's the North American LCS All-Stars Double Lift and X Special taking on the Korean LCS's Prey and Mad Life. Crazy, crazy game that's sure to be. Then in the jungle finals, it's the epic showdown between the European LCS's Diamond and the Korean LCS's Insec.
That's the one I'm really waiting to watch. Yeah. I'm really excited for that one. In the top lane, it'll be Europe's favorite, Nunu SOAS, taking on Korea's LCL Shy. While in the mid lane finals, of course, it is going to be Garena All-Stars Toys facing off against the Chinese favorite, 4.5 million votes, Messiah.
And remember, everybody, it all starts on Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific and on Sunday at 3 a.m. Central European Summertime. And on day 3, we've got a surprise. You asked and we answered. Tune in to the world premiere of the League of Legends cinematic, A Twist of Fate.
It's as simple as this. We wanted to honor the amazing League of Legends community, so we're excited to share this brand new cinematic with you guys.
And the cinematic will debut immediately following the final match. Make sure you don't miss out on that one. But enough about day 3. We've still got a load of action left here in day 2 with 2 epic best-of-3 all-star team showdowns. Up first, of course, it's North America versus Europe in a battle to get there into the next round. Me and Freak are going to be over there battling it out ourselves.
And, of course, this match is going to have a huge impact on the World Playoffs. The winners earn their top team a first-round bye in the World Playoffs. The loser here is the only region here that won't get that privilege.
And, of course, our second match of the day features the debut of the Garena All-Stars themselves, three-part TPA effectively. We all saw them get collected in their rings, but they are up against the home team, the Chinese LPL All-Stars.
And the winner of that match is going to be the first team to come into the grand finals of the tournament. Of course, that'll be played on Sunday, so another really important match there.
Yeah, plenty of amazing action coming up. We've got to take a short break, but when we return, it's North America and Europe fighting to avoid elimination from the team tournament. The 2013 League of Legends All-Star Weekend live here in Shanghai, China. We'll return right after this break.
Diamondprox is the best player on the EU team. There's like game sense and there's like mechanics, and then there's just having like a sixth sense about where to be, even when it doesn't make any sense. I always see him at the right place.
He's the god jungler.
Welcome back to the 2013 League of Legends All-Star Weekend live from Shanghai, China. I am Remington Bisson III, and beside me is Joshua Jat Leesman. We are mere minutes away from our next match in the All-Star Team Tournament, the North American LCS All-Stars versus the European LCS All-Stars. So let's take a look at the starting lineups.
Yeah, starting on the blue side, it's the European LCS All-Star team. Top lane is Soaz, Diamond in the jungle, Alex each in mid, Yellow, Pete on AD carry, and of course Edward on support.
And we have on the red side, it's the North American LCS All-Stars. Top laner is Dyrus. In the jungle, it's St. Vicious. Mid lane is Skara. AD carry at Doublelift, and at support, it's Xpecial. So both of these teams are getting ready for the first game in this best-of-3 series. What can we expect from these two squads?
So yesterday, NA lost to China pretty badly in Game 1 before almost a big comeback, but then they had a meltdown after having a huge lead in Game 2. And for Europe, they had a good start in their first game, and then it was all downhill from their first game to second.
So kind of figuring out how to hold on to those leads and being the top priority for these squads today.
Yeah, so Alex each got shut down pretty hard yesterday for Europe, and that's a big reason why they weren't able to win. He was actually combined 3, 9, and 12 in both of the games that Europe had, so they really have to get him going if they want to be able to win this game. And then for NA, they actually had it pretty much figured out in Game 2 before they had that great collapse. Doublelift performed really strongly in both games. He was 11, 6, and 10. Really the only truly positive score on anyone from North America. His Urgot in particular was totally crazy. So the key for North America actually today is to have more decisive play calling more than anything else.
All right, while the North Americans are hoping that better shot calling and a dominating Doublelift can carry them to a victory, the European LCS All-Stars are confident that their team is stacked with better players at almost every position.
We play against North America now. Individually, I think we can outplay them on a lot of lanes, and not only pick-wise, but also just performance-wise. We just play at top of our level. We'll succeed.
The only one in top of them, I think, is Doublelift, which can make plays and stuff like that. I don't think the forwarder can really do plays like him.
Europe definitely doesn't let up pressure like North America does. I think we just can't let ourselves fall too far behind and just play well off of our bot lane. That's North America's strength right now.
We feel like we can iron out all of our mistakes, and I assume they probably feel the same way.
Если вы видели Катовицу, то вам не составит труда понять, что все возможно.
Before we get into these matches, let's see who you guys think is going to win the series. According to LoLeSports.com, 53% think that the European LCS will walk away with the win, and that's really close still.
Yeah, I was thinking it was going to be a little higher because there'd be more Europeans awake than North Americans, but that is super close as far as the voting is concerned. And that is really a lot of the read on this game, because we still don't know how much Europe is going to be able to come back from the Korean loss yesterday, and so much of their performance will just depend on the relative strengths of the teams they played against. So until these guys really play each other, since they're all-star teams that we haven't seen before this event, anything's possible.
And how much do you think this impacts or what North America has been able to look at online? Seeing yesterday, seeing we had the lead and everybody said online, you were too complacent and you let the lead fall away. How can they act on that?
I think they really just have to play more calmly, I guess, because they had a lot of control in the second game, and then they really just seemed to be in a bit of indecisive / panic mode. For a while, when North America had that big lead in the second game, they weren't pressing their advantage until they tried the Baron, and then they did tower dive after that. What they probably should have done is done a tower dive earlier and then not even really thought about the potential Baron steal because of how dangerous that was.
So just kind of organizing where the strength, the positioning can be. Now, the focus of NA, definitely on to Diamond Prox. Is the jungler a focus, though? Because in the European LCS, Alex G said at one point, we don't focus junglers because there's just so many to play. It's kind of a spot you just need to beat at its own.
I don't necessarily know if they will target Diamond Prox in bans, even though that's a little bit of what Korea did yesterday. But I think as far as the game goes, they have to focus Alex more than Diamond Prox. Because if we look at the game that happened yesterday with Korea, Korea was letting Diamond Prox kind of have his way, but they were focusing Alex and trying to shut him down. And that's really why they came out on top in a lot of different ways. So even though Diamond Prox is very important, the focus should definitely be on Alex each.
So this maybe kind of a roundabout difficult question, but how, if Diamond Prox is that strong, if you can't focus him, what's the way around it?
If you can't focus Diamond Prox, it's really just winning the lanes for North America, as bold, as silly as that sounds.
He can't be.
Only because it is still an all-star game, and even though these guys have practiced together for a fair amount of time, you're not going to have the team synergy you have with your base team. So a lot of it just has to do with the individual performance of all these guys.
And with Doublelift saying that Diamond Products is always in the right spot at the right time, we'll have to see if that edges into any of their engagements. How cautious do they look going into these fights? Because just in their last game, we saw that Dyrus farmed more than
So
not.
much.
It was kind of different in his play style.
Yeah, Dyrus was just farm city. He does that a fair bit with TSM, and he lets the rest of the team initiate. But I think one of the problems with that was, with this team, Skara isn't the same play style as Reginald, so the farm didn't necessarily translate to just being able to walk in at the end of team fights and take it over. I really do like to say that Doublelift's play from game 1 to game 2 was so different in the way he was approaching it and in his champion picks, because Vayne versus Urgot was just a totally different style of play.
It wasn't protect Doublelift. It was watch him go in and then figure out where he is.
It was let Doublelift make a play, and then everyone else would follow up. That was actually what the North American team was becoming in the second game, rather than what a team like Team Solomid, the #1 seed in North America, where they let Reginald go in and make a play. They were using Doublelift as the AD carry distraction on Urgot, at least.
And we even saw Europe kind of bringing out a few of the things that weren't uncomfortable to them, but Alex H taking Tryndamere to mid. And we've seen him play it in solo queue if you watch his stream and whatnot online, but that was the first for him.
Yeah, that was not necessarily something that worked out.
No.
Alex got a little bit focused as far as picks and bans go, and more so focused in
That
the
game, yeah, he did.
But that game, because they 2v1'd the middle lane, he got pulled in by Blitzcrank right at the start, and he could just not recover in the slightest.
Yeah, and it seemed like the jungler's Lee Sin was just in the right spot at the right time.
Man, Insec was awesome yesterday. You cannot give enough credit to the Korean team for how well they played against Europe. And it just really took away our metric for how good the Europe team could be, because they got beaten really handily in the second game.
And to kind of digress, to show that play, that the camaraderie here as well, it all is all, playing for the title. But in fun and games, after the matchups happened, it was going to be a Diamond going up to Insect, and he was like, all right, 1v1 Lee Sin. And they agreed to it, which is awesome. That's kind of an awesome thing to have happen here, that there is still competition, but there is still fun and camaraderie on the side.
That 1v1 on Lee Sin is going to be awesome tomorrow. That's going to be the first set of things is going to be all the finals for the 1v1 tomorrow before we get into the championship round of League of Legends, and too good.
And it's just even part of the atmosphere here, as we said at the Shanghai Grand Stadium. These people, like I said yesterday, it's just adrenaline drip, just hitting us right now. I'm so excited to be on the stage, because we were kind of in the back doing interviews and whatnot, and I'm like, all right, I want to yell into a microphone. I want to scream right now. I want to see these all-star plays. And finally, before us, we're going to get that. We're going to get North American LCS All-Stars versus the European LCS All-Stars.
You're in the right line of work for that, actually.
Something that people have been wanting for quite some time right now.
I cannot wait for this. There's so much just rivalry between North America and Europe, probably more so, at least for the people watching this stream, than any other region that we'll have here. So I cannot wait to see these picks and bans, and I believe they're underway.
Yeah, and let's a little bit as they go in, the factor of having the 3 Gambit members coming in as well for that team. You had Soaz up top, and we have Yellow P at AD carry. So how do you feel like the 3 members? We've kind of been speaking a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
The 3 members of Gambit Gaming should be the core of the team, and then I feel like today they might try to default more back to just playing like Gambit, because they know that strategy works. Even Diamond in the feature talking back to IM Katowice, when they crushed through the Azubu at the time, Blaze and Frost teams who are now CJ Entus, he was saying anything is possible if you watch that, and that's what they could be believing now, but more so in themselves from the core Gambit Gaming team.
See what they have. The picks and bans have gone out. Blitzcrank actually going out there. Edward causing enough trouble to find a ban.
That is very interesting there. The fact that they've banned both of the Hook champions, but North America leaving Twisted Fate open for the first time we've seen this entire tournament, and immediately Alex is going to pop that one in.
So locking down the global pressure. It's now up to North America to decide what will they just show in their hand. Could it be an ambiguous pick? Will they choose to get that Sona for X Special?
That is going to be so telling, because they don't have to pick the mid laner yet.
No.
The Sona is probably the strongest support, and the interesting thing is, Edward plays Sona all the time, even though he doesn't like it. It's actually Alex who makes him play Sona because he says it's so powerful. And if we just base this off of what X Special has played throughout the LCS NA playoffs, it will be Sona. But if we base it off of yesterday, we can't really be sure, because his Janna play was just immaculate.
And North America already taking all the time that they have. No reason to go any further with forcing it, with the Rumble Lulu locked in right away.
The Rumble we should have seen coming. The Lulu definitely surprises me. So the Rumble is something that was super powerful yesterday. It got supercharged PDD just running all over North America in that game. And Dyrus is a prolific Rumble player by himself. But the Lulu play, just so early, really does surprise me. I have to see what the rest of NA has in store to try to combo with that, because I feel like that's that's not an isolation pick. They're going to try to do something else with it.
In Europe, definitely it is a Gambit squad. This says fight. This says we can go in and we can follow TFP destinies.
I really can't wait to see how they pile in. Getting the Zac specifically for Gambit will make them more comfortable. They played a lot of that in the playoffs. They can combo in on pretty much whoever they want.
Yeah. So we'll see coming out on the other side as well. Looks like Saint wants to take Nautilus to the jungle here.
Nice.
We have global pressure as well from the North American team with Karthus middle.
Scar getting on Karthus should make him that rock that gets to farm. That's what he used to do at the start. He didn't play it much during the LCS season, but now it fits this team composition the most. The thing they have to worry about is how much AP damage they actually have. Europe ran into a similar problem yesterday, picking nearly a triple AP composition, and with the Nautilus jungle plus the double AP, if Europe gets a lot of magic resist, it could be trouble.
And there's still a little bit of NA history that flows towards Doublelift for this one. They're leaving him for the last so he can get safety, he can get his pick.
And they wanted to make sure he wasn't picking in an AD carry blind. Yesterday when he played the amazing Urgot game that ended up losing, he picked it into a Vayne. So he wants to be very sure about what he does now, and since we see the final of the picks by Europe, what's Doublelift going to go for?
He does have quite a few choices to lock in for himself. We do see that Misfortune was picked out.
Yeah.
That Misfortune as well. I believe going with that support Elise right now.
That has to be it. You're right. That's got to be Edward playing support Elise. I would say it's a top lane Jace for Soaz, which is going to be awesome for him. He was actually the first Jace player way back at Gamescom in Season 2 European
Can this guy do anything? Yes.
I think he knows how to play a few champions by now. And that's what's going to play.
See what happens with the Draven pick. If he decides to lock it in, we have not seen Doublelift play Graves in so long, but he will put himself in the middle of a fight.
This tells me that North America's really got a team strategy that they're trying to pull off with this one, because Doublelift, if he was playing his own game, he'd say, I'm playing Vayne or Caitlyn, I'm just trying to win the lane. But in this particular case, because they're trying to combo with the Rumble and the Karthus and the huge amount of magic damage, the Graves ultimate and just general area of effect damage is going to try to corral the European team and catch them in team fights.
So we're seeing that it was going to be the Jace top, Zac jungle, Zac versus Nautilus. The movement of Zac can pretty much wreak havoc on that.
The movement of Zac here, we got a small delay. We have to do a quick remake of this one. So Zac versus Nautilus is actually a bit of a favor early game for Zac, I'd have to say. He can farm the jungle a bit more safely.
Yeah.
But if Nautilus gets going even the slightest bit, he is one of the safest junglers plus one of the greatest, I don't use this term that much, but snowballers early on. If he hits level 9 really quick, he does so much damage with that shield before it can get broken, and he can really take over a game.
We've seen teams kind of forget to do that, break the shield. It was actually, I believe, one of the replays you did recently. I can't remember the game, but it is a huge factor, the little nuances in the game that make the fight go in a team's favor.
Yeah, it's so hard to do with Nautilus when you're playing against him. You see this giant man that's chasing you down with an anchor, and you don't think that you have to do like 240 damage to him to cut his damage output down by about 2/3.
And that's kind of a dot, too, for the area.
So it actually makes it even more important that when North America goes in, that Scar goes in with St. Vicious. Otherwise, St. Vicious is just going to lose his shield by accident because he's the only one to hit and not be able to pull off damage with his Nautilus.
And I am very interested to see between these two teams what we're going to see. Will they decide to let the first few pitches fly and they'll kind of just go for wards and back off, or is there going to be heavy aggression? Not both of these mids, but if Scar doesn't grab that tier, he's going to want his blue. He's going to want to continuously farm. Like you said, he loves his CS.
Based off what we know from Scar and Karthus play recently, the tier to Catalyst build is just what you do on Karthus. And Twisted Fate isn't necessarily someone who can punish the Karthus super early in lane. So for Alex Each as well, he's going to be able to farm up a fair bit, and there will be that if they don't do 2v1s in mid like we've seen a lot of. So we're just kind of guessing that one happened. If they get to lane against each other, a lot of it's going to be about racing to level 6 and then seeing who can shove up the lane first so they're able to roam and affect the rest of the map.
And yeah, like you say, Dignitas, kind of one of the teams to switch it up, putting Scar in the long lane in the bottom, whether he's in Diana. You can do that with Karthus because that ult is globally present at 6. So if he's down there, not going to hurt.
And we've seen a lot of actually casters just making their way into the side lanes. We saw Ryze top lane twice yesterday, and it completely dominated.
And Shy was kind of crazy.
Hotshot GG was one of the first top lane Karthuses, and people were just like, hey man.
He did.
What are you doing?
Is that an accidental pick? No.
That was for real. It definitely did not win and did not make it into the All-Star game, but it was kind of the start for at least North America of thinking, what type of champions can we now put in these lanes since we're seeing so many lane swaps? How much does it really matter?
Well, how do they decide how that matters? Is it the pressure from the jungler coming out? Because in this tournament, that's what's happening. They're focusing junglers. It kind of changes with tournaments.
So much of it is, in my opinion, game-specific for what exactly you're wanting to do and who do you try to focus down. When you try to put a Karthus in the side lane, that's just, at least for COG, trying to accumulate extra threat, but without having to pay for it. Because if you're putting the Karthus in the mid lane, that's really the easiest lane in the game to farm in.
Mm-hmm.
But they wanted to put another mid laner in there that was weaker in a 1v2. So it's just really dependent on your composition, really dependent on exactly what's playing against you. If there was a kill lane against a Karthus, he's just suicide in that bottom lane, which is actually what ended up happening to Hotshot way back in the LCS season.
And you know what's really interesting about these is you kind of think like, all right, what's the next point? Which one of these guys isn't that good in a 2v1 or in the swap lane? And you're like, damn, actually they're all all-stars. So even more super excited to see this match get underway because it is going to be these guys playing at the top of the level, whether Dyrus is in the 2v1 or not. They're the all-stars for this matchup in the region.
Yeah, I could not believe that pan shot we just saw either. It's crazy to believe we're absolutely in here. And to get back to that point, both Soaz and Dyrus were probably arguably the best 1v2 laners in their region. TSM, at least at the start of the season, were the team to do the early tower dives almost every single time.
Just stand there and watch you at your turret. It was menacing.
And whereas Fnatic was someone who just roamed around everywhere, and Soaz was off and off on his own, trying to combo with Xpeke to really make plays happen. Both of those guys are very used to having really the whole enemy team just on their back and trying to take on the world. So against each other, they both should be very ready for this.
You know what's interesting is we saw the top laner video just a little bit ago, and it's completely different for everyone. If you know you're one top laner that can carry you through, that's what you can do in fight. If you're Stanley, you know, Dyrus, you just do good in your lane, and then you'll be all right for the late game kind of thing.
I thought the biggest difference in that video was when Dyrus talked to when Shy spoke. Because Dyrus said, if you fall behind in a lot of top lanes, sometimes you're just done.
Yeah.
Whereas Shy said, which is a lot, it's true, because you can see the way Dyrus is coming from. We're saying, if you're against an equally skilled opponent and they see you're behind, they're going to punish you.
Exactly.
But then what Shy said is, you have to keep a mindset perfect, even if you start falling behind. Because even though you want to credit your opponents, you can never give them the game. You can't just say, okay, I lost my lane, I'm going to be able to get it go through. I think, and since Dyrus looks up to these guys a lot of times and measures himself against that, even though it probably didn't come across in that video, that is somewhat how he plays.
We've heard quite a few of these guys give credit to each other from the positions, from learning where they came from. We'll have to see as we get this match underway. Our first best of 3 here on day 2. EU LCS All-Stars versus the North American LCS All-Stars.
Scar got some successful scouting down into that bottom lane brush, making sure Yellow Pete couldn't make it in there. He strutted his way into that brush really quickly to actually give Europe a little bit of a positional advantage level 1.
We'll have to see what they continue to do. They are definitely not leaving a line of scrimmage. They are making this a face and body of scrimmage as they continuously push into that Wraith area. They want this ward down very, very much so.
And I cannot really say I'm going to see a huge amount of action here since the wards have been placed in fairly good approach paths. The only potential would have been a delayed invade by maybe Yellow Pete and Edward, but I feel like that's pretty unlikely.
So it looks like everybody's going to kind of stay safe here. The ping's going towards the bottom lane as recently in that end of the both LCSs, there are a lot of the 140 invades from the Fog of War and the Tri-Bush area. So NALCS playing it safe. They pink warded immediately. We may see jungler presence down there.
And a lot of that could have had to do with, since Scar saw Yellow Pete down there at the start of the game, they wanted to make sure they had control of that early. It could also mean that Doublelift and Xpecial really want to make sure they don't get ganked in that lane by getting some early pink ward control.
See what they do. Alex looking to stay on the side here, make sure that nothing goes too awry for these guys taking their buff. We start the lane. We do see the AD carry support mid. Doublelift and Xpecial will set up there, and they do actually send Scar to the bottom.
Well, there's the... Sorry about that. There's the 1v2 Karthus that we've been talking about all this time.
Yep.
Let's see if the aggression from the Edward and Yellow Pete lane can make him pay for that. That is a very scary lane. If Edward lands one cocoon onto Scar, and Scar's not sat on top of his turret, even if he is sat on top of his turret, there's a chance he's just dead right from that.
You know, as Freaks likes to say, these guys are definitely oppressed our team. Absolutely. With Dyrus, Karthus ultimate, or Dyrus ultimate, Rumble ultimate, and Karthus ultimate, these guys are level 6 and go. St. Vicious bringing up his blue buff here. We'll have to see if we get any engagements from the junglers. It's still very early. Alex takes the pressure in mid.
And looks like NA's trying to shut down Alex.
have done this a lot, also in North America, because if you're playing against a Scar or Reginald, a lot of times you do like to try to shut them down in games as well. And we saw Korea do this very well, getting down Alex. Plus, when you're in mid lane, it allows you to apply pressure to the jungler as well. So they're trying to get Alex and Diamond shut down at once. A nice steal there.
You know, as we talk back to previous tournaments, it was really Gambit to start the mid to everywhere roam. They didn't have 2 mid, but they did it with the Janna. Now, NA really pulling them, giving some of their own medicine right off the bat.
Double Internet special. Not necessarily farming better than Yellow Pink and Edward, but that's the trade-off they're willing to have. They're almost sacrificing Skara for trying to shut down Alex Siege, thinking that Skara is cheaper reliability late game than a Twisted Fate would be.
Very aggressive Skara trying to clear his wave out. No help's going to come from Saint just yet. Junglers still biting to their jungles. Zach in lane behind Alex Siege, but it does not look like they're going to engage. Everybody's pretty much, like we said, top-notch play all around. There is a bit of a gold lead in favor of EU, though, with that CS.
Looks like the first gank of the game might be by Saint Vicious up top. Soaz went a little aggressive there. Saint would have to go right away if he wants to try to catch Soaz, though.
There's no bush, or there's no ward, but it's in the tri-bush, so they are going to be able to get this. He gets the anchor toss down. The crowd control after. Both flashes come in. The harpoon hits. It may be first blood. The hit goes to Saint. The support, the assist to Dyrus.
Blind hooking into that wall and catching Soaz was a risk worthy of taking. That really was what secured them that kill, because then after the flash, they could just follow and continually apply that red buff slow. So a great start for Saint Vicious and North America.
You know, Jet, you said Nautilus is one of those guys, if he gets a kill, he can really get going. Rumble. We saw PDD do it one after the other. It's now in Dyrus' hands. We'll see if EU can shut that down.
Especially since Diamond got shut down a little bit by the 2-person lane in the mid. Unless he makes a play fairly soon, they could really be struggling with Dyrus in this lane.
So Dyrus looking to just flame spit down the rest of that lane, get himself back and get some purchases down. Alex East doing what he can to keep them off the turret, but not too much pressure. Doublelift trying to get the shots down, but they haven't done too much damage there.
Yeah, the main focus of them in the mid lane was not necessarily to push down the turret, so it seems, but to invade the jungle and just get control of the map. The thing they're going to have to worry about here is if Skara can't hold his bottom lane turret, as well as Alex is holding this one, because we could get a turret discrepancy and essentially get rid of the advantage North America gained with that first blood game.
See what they can continuously do with that pressure in mid. They don't have any wards or any wards more to put down, so it looks like with the 2 in their face, they still stay with 1 pink ward for their bottom side.
Looking pretty safe there. I mean, they just saw Zach.
Yeah,
so they
right.
know they're pretty much safe. Diamond has no buffs as well, so a gank is a very low success rate if they try to chase him down. And they also have the added bonus of having a little Saint Vicious there.
Oh, just on the other side of the wall, if he knew, only if. And looks like they are, once again, going to take up that jungle, and they were giving Alex harassment as well. He wanted to back, but with the waves being pushed so much, he had to stay for the bit of experience there. Finally going back now, the tier in the hands of Jace. Alex picking up that ring for himself. Looks like we will get it started. Saint picking up the mobility boots already.
And look out, Diamond Saint next special camping in a brush. This will be slow.
Down, and may be able to take him out. He's waiting for the shot. All the crowd control's been used. He hits up the slow. Oh, he gets turned into a bunny. That's not going to work for you. It's actually a dragon, but you're still not going to get away.
Timely polymorph by X Special there, making sure he could not charge up the elastic slingshot on Zach, but he still did have the flash. That is more shutdown on Diamond, though, so they are definitely seeming to target the middle area of the map, trying to combo Alex and Diamond out early in this game.
If you're not afraid of what's destinying in, it's not really that much of a threat. So right before that level, or level 6, 25 CS to 24 there in mid. It's a super low CS game, except for the 80 carries. They're all half behind them.
Yeah, because we have to consider that in the top lane, Dyrus and Soaz have been battling it out, plus the gank. And Soaz was winning that lane pretty hard before, so that's why it's a bit low. And then Skara in a 1v2 is not going to be able to farm, plus all the pressure North America has been trying to put on the jungle is sucking Alex away back and forth. So with all that happening, Europe is winning the farm game because it's 8.9 to 8.8k, even though they're down first blood.
And, you know, Kobe said it before, what's the best way to stop that snowball is keep warding. Wards to the top of Alex, 2 wards over to the dragon, and still 1 for the top lane. So these guys do not want any more of this pressure to go awry.
And it's interesting that both of the supports have actually went for the health crystal as well instead of going for, I'm foolish, they're going for an early cyclone. It builds out of a health crystal. But they're going to be going for that war control real early.
So let's see Diamond getting hit up a little bit more. Does still have his passive from getting out of the last fight. Looks like the blue buff is pressured though. So this is NA trying to really push EU around.
And Saint's going to be hitting his power point Level 5 through 9 is really when Nautilus sees his absolute peak. He's got a great start here, and with that booster, they're definitely trying to keep Diamond and Alex down.
So this is good. The Alex is getting hurt, but Scarra is getting hurt as well. So they're going mirror on that, but who is it going to help more? Scarra is still going to be able to get that ultimate off on the backside. Destiny comes in.
It's too hard to tell at this point. It really depends on if Alex can get any control of his lane so he can roam around. If Doublelift and Next Special keep up this type of pressure, Alex won't be able to move elsewhere. But we have to keep pointing out that due to the Twisted Fate passive and due to the amazing farming of Europe, they're actually dead even in gold and potentially taking a lead, since I don't think Scar's making it back to this turret.
This turret may go down. We see Yellow Pete putting a few shots on it, but he's not focusing it with every auto attack. He's kind of just backed off here. They may want to, yeah, they are going to get it.
They are definitely making sure to secure this turret, but they wanted the turret to kill as many minions as possible safely without them losing it, because they want to deny Scar as much farm as possible.
So Saint did get that previous blue buff we saw. This one goes to Scarra, a level 6 on Karthus. We're seeing a lot of level 6s around as well. Alex Ish now 7. The buy is coming in as we check out some inventories here. 9 minutes into the game. BF swords for the AD carries. Not too much around. Tiers getting stacked. Just normal buys, no core items.
Yeah, and I wonder if the AD carries are going to be fighting each other real soon, because they obviously both went for pretty high combat ability. Doublelift, I believe, shopped earlier than Yellow Pete here, so he's actually sitting on 800 gold, whereas Yellow Pete's sitting on pretty much nothing. Since North America got almost no damage early on that mid turret, this could end up hurting them, because as far as actual turret pressure, they're very low.
We have to decide to play the Saint again, putting pressure towards the top lane. We have seen the AD carry support now move mid for Europe. And able to get that pressure if they can hold it off.
And I think St. Vicious is trying to get this other kill on Soaz. He's level 6 now. Very difficult for Soaz to escape.
Oh, he dodges one, gets the depth charge on him. That's the crowd control after. They're going to follow up. Now it's Dyrus' kill coming in this time.
And North America does have to get out of there because, okay, Gambit Gaming was thinking of coming up, but they decided to deny. Another time the gank by St. Vicious, walking up at just the right time, using those early kills to get the boots of mobility and trying to take the game over at this point. He's got to go in a lot more places, though, to get this one going, since he hasn't actually shut down the farm, aside from the 2 successful ganks.
And Jat, this is quite reminiscent of North America versus the China LPL squad. Very well played in the beginning, as we see Edward getting caught up here, surrounded by 2 members of the NALCS squad, but it looks like Yellow Pete's able to thwart them off. And as I was saying, NA can't afford to get complacent after this lead.
No, but St. Vicious is definitely stronger than the majority of the European team right now, just based off the power spike Nautilus has at level 7. He's got to make something count here, because in the game against China, when he got off to that amazing start on Volibear, I think he had 4 to 6 kills. They could not hold it through the end because he was the sole person in a lot of those fights, and he was just getting down and killed. But the same problem might happen this time if Scar doesn't get farmed up enough to go in with him, because then all of his farm on Nautilus is going to be for naught. Didn't mean to do that because he just can't make it. He will lose his shield and not do damage.
We'll have to see what they decide to pressure. It's now 11 minutes into the game. There's still Dragon Wards going down, but we haven't really seen the dance. There's just been too much movement and too much chaos caused by the North American LCS team. Europe acting on it both. Like I said, they're continuously warding. Zach Diamond picking up that Golem Spirit, sticking with Saint, even though killing assist behind.
I really want to see how the St. Vicious game develops, since he's going for what looks like the same item that Diamond has just completed. That means no auras for the most part early on, and they're probably not worried about it yet because Alex Each Magic Damage has won the Aegis Aura 4 and they made it there yet because he down so long.
A little bit of help to Alex here in mid, and finally it looks like they will get some pressure on the Dragon. Soaz has come down from the top lane, but still the pink wards in a lot here on the Dragon for NA.
And Dragon fights at this stage of the game against Rumble are very dangerous. Europe will have to play this carefully and maybe get the Dragon on early or catch the fight before they can get cut off by an equalizer. The placement of Dyrus' equalizer, if this fight happens, is going to be so incredibly key.
And this just looks like one of those fights the All-Stars have been talking about. Everybody's there, nobody has to say anything, and the engagement happens. Diamond goes in with less bounce, but a Zac attack is pushed away. The anchor toss onto Soaz. They lock it down. The Rumble the equalizer is right in the middle. Scar is trying to defile everything in his path. Still has the ultimate to utilize at the end of the fight. And Yellow Pete is taking tags from the Skittles. It's like Requiem coming down. Diamond is going to get hit up into the block. Can Edward help him out? It's Alex on the backside. He's exhausted and he goes down. Saint picks up another kill. Eyes onto the block, and it looks like Diamond will not make it out alive.
So that is 4 kills for North America in that Dragon fight. We knew how dangerous it was to fight a Dragon against Rumble Karthus at this stage of the game. What an amazing team fight victory for North America. But after this Riv, They're only up 1,000 gold, despite how dominating they seem to be winning.
It's been a great game for a lot of the EU members in CS-wise. Like we said, it's a low game in CS. You mentioned the TF passive, keeping them in. They got that turret in the bottom lane, helping with the global gold. With such an engagement like that, it's crazy to think the gold is still this close. 6-1 as well in kills as we crest 13 minutes. And our first dragon didn't even really fall. Did it go down?
Yeah, it didn't even go down. So that means they could just go back and have that fight all over again. You've got to question how willing Fnatic would be to go into that again, because North America is going to be high on confidence. There they go for Soaz.
One after the other, the anchor crosses come in. Will they be able to lock it down? The crowd control is there. Zach Diamond comes in. Got to remember, the passive is down. Dyrus picks up 1 kill onto Soaz. Looks like they have a good control of this fight. Alex pushed down up top, and NA just kind of messing around with you right now. The wards are down, so full vision for both teams. Zane hits another anchor toss. They probably morph him. The last hit from Skittle of Skara, and it looks like the dragon may finally be there.
And you talked about North America having that press R composition. They did not even have their ultimates for that fight, and they won that in a skirmish battle. Normally, Jace and Elise, since they are both form swappers and do not have true ultimates, thrive in skirmish situations. So the fact that they lost that second fight so badly is not a good sign for the rest of the game.
North America is on the fast lane right now. 14 minutes in, 8-1. But Europe, with that fight squad, they could still come back. It's very much what Gambit Gaming is well known for. Soaz as well, being a fighter on this team. And then they called it the supercharged Gambit, and we'll have to see what they can do. It's still very early.
And as far as being a supercharged Gambit, I think this is the point where the European team needs to actually channel a bit of Fnatic and start scattering and confusing the North American team while avoiding team fights. That's what Soaz and Xpeke did so well during the season. Oftentimes when Xpeke was on Twisted Fate, they can't take team fights. They have shown twice now that they will lose those team fights, so they need to find skirmishes, they need to pressure the map, and they need to take the right fights that don't have everyone involved.
Still a super low minion kill score game, and nobody really finishing a huge core item yet but the junglers. The AD carries, like I said, they were farming their faces off. Do finally have their bloodthirsters. Doublelift with the boots as well, already going for attack speed.
And in that super low farm game, you can see Doublelift is the only one who's farming, and he is on an amazing clip. 150 pretty much. 15 minutes into the game on Graves. He's the one channeling the farm. He was the probably top performer along with Xpecial for North America yesterday, and they seem to be doing it yet again against a fearsome European squad.
600 gold up on his adversary here in this matchup, as well as 1-0-3 to a 0-2-1. Looking very good for North America here in the middle crest of the game, or 15 minutes we should say, not the mid yet. But it is a small gold lead. We see what Europe can do in these big fights. Dive in on the wing. Zane could have gone into that side. There's the Destiny coming in. The yellow card just in range, and it looks like they will be able to get a bit of damage down. But they may be able to walk out this one. We talked about how tanky Nautilus can get. Will they finalize it? And they do. EU LCS All-Stars find themselves the kills they need.
Really good job of finding a fight where they had the numbers advantage and just capitalizing on it for North America. That was really, imagine Alexitch being Xpeke there. He comboed with Soaz and they made a play. That is what Europe will need to continue to do while Yellowpeak farms up slowly. Watch for Alex and Soaz to try to team up and take fights against lesser people.
Really one of the best kills they could have had as well. A shutdown on the St. Vicious. The gold still hopping into NA's favor. However, we'll have to see and watch how that flows. Yellowpeak trying to hold off Skara in the bottom lane. Alex still trying to clear these minions out in mid, so they do have the chance to leave lane and pressure other things.
And Skara is finally starting to catch up as well as Alex. The laning phase was a little bit dissolved because you've had dragon fights. The turret still haven't went down, but you can just see by the flow of farming, it's much easier for the guys. They're no longer trapped into 2v1 lanes. Skara's obviously going for that tier to Roa to Seraph's Embrace build on Karthus. And we actually did see way back in one of those team fights more of the North American plan with that early Lulu pick. They're actually wanting to Lulu wall either Skara so they can keep him in range for his Defile and people can't run away, or obviously just St. Vicious if he's the first one in. But that'll be a very good synergy, and it means that Skara needs to continue to focus his farm. Otherwise, it's no good keeping someone around Karthus if he's not doing damage.
Doublelift taking a walk down the river. Looks like the AD carriers are going to face off against each other. And we kind of see both teams saying, we're strong, or they consider each other strong, because the wards, they're not going deep anymore. They're just on the entrance. They want to know if they're in or out. They just want to play it safe for now.
And that seems like the thing they need to do until they can bide their time to find the right fights. You know how the dragon fights already went in this game.
few more wards being placed down. Still nothing deep, as we said, but it's not going to be deep. The turrets haven't been taken down yet. It's all about the roaming and stopping people from really getting to a late game phase. They've tried to do it on Alex in mid. He's gone straight for the Lich Bane on Twisted Fate.
That's quite an interesting choice. I wonder if he's went with any AP. He's already got 140 AP just with the Lich Bane and a couple Thorns rings, so definitely trying to proc that, maybe extra turret pushing, because they realize that North America doesn't have really any focus on trying to get that going to the stage of the game, and if Europe can catch up by map pressure and turrets, then they're going to take that if it avoids fighting.
Is this just a sixth sense by Dyrus? I don't think he warded that front bush. No, he did. He does have a ward right under the coin of Jace. So looks like Dyrus playing it safe in the top lane. This gives Saint all the time to roam. They have 2 on the bottom lane, and they may try to dive this.
This could very well be a dive. That is 4 people. TFX engaging top at the same time.
Oh, Dyrus is going to go down, so they have to actuate on this in the bottom lane. It looks like it's going to be Yellow P. Scar is actually on the backside, too. He could actually wall in Edward. No, Edward jumps the wall, tries to get back out of this one. Saves himself, but they lose Yellow P and Dyrus.
1 for 1 pretty much, except that was a shutdown on a Dyrus while Yellow Pete had already died 2 times previously. So that is a good move by Europe. Once again, they avoided the big fight and got the skirmish that is more in their favor.
You know, Jack, you said it. There's the Lich Bane buy. Probably the turret pushing. They finally take down the top one after it was straight focus with Destiny on that core buy.
So smart choices and smart play coming up here while they're behind, but we can't take the credit away from North America, who's 9-3, still up about 2,000 gold, and the dragon a minute away could either give them a dragon because they're so strong in team fights, or just take them into the stratosphere as far as gold lead goes if they can get another ace.
Miramon is being charged up here for Jace. We also have the tier being charged up on the side of Skara, going for that Seraph's Embrace in the end game. So he's stacking 2 as they come into the 20-minute mark.
And those guys are getting real close to the transform. So Soaz is at 704 of the 750 for that Seraph. So even though he's 0-4, he's going to be a really big threat, potentially by the time this next dragon fight happens. Skara likewise was at 670, so he's pretty close, but he hasn't been able to buy the item yet for the transform. So it's going to be pretty key actually, since those items do have a very large spike once they get it.
Now, with the choice in purchases here for the AD carries, the Dragon about to be attempted here, but let's play this contest on this one to see what happens. They should be able to get it. Saint has Smite up, and he can do it quite well.
Yeah, he got the one. He missed the other one. Yeah. But St. Vicious in general has actually had very good starts to a lot of these games. It's about finishing the games that he's actually struggled with in some of these cases. But they're going in for a fight after the dragon. This could be big.
1, 2, 3. Diamond's passive is going to be back up from the last engagement. They get a death charge all the way to Edward and Alex each. The crowd control is just too much, as well as the area of effect. Look how big Saint is going into this fight. Edward's going to be forced to turn around. He tries to get an execute down, but it's not going to work, and they take 3, 2 for nothing.
And this could be big if they continue the push. How is North America going to capitalize? They have lost creeps. Soaz is still able to poke them down. Is this just going to be another fight for North America where they get kills but can't take an objective?
They're pushing it. They have very low HP, and that's one of the scary things we see teams not be able to get around or just coordinate themselves to. You get low, you don't have the minion wave, you win the fights, but it doesn't matter if you can't push something after.
And North America is going to have to figure out a way of doing that. One thing you have when you get the double AP composition is your turret pushing is actually a lot slower if you had a Jace on your team and you can both just whale on the turret. Since Rumble's melee and Karthus' auto attack is actually pretty bad, that won't be big. But Double Lift with a lot of items just chasing down Diamond.
Forcing the flash on Diamond. Does he decide to go in? He's got the blue buff. He hits the passive. He may be able to lifesteal. No, this could be bad news bears. Double Lift gets the exhaust out. Oh my gosh, the Raccoon comes in. He doesn't have enough for collateral damage. He gets the first kill. You are not going to slingshot in, and he holds himself back.
Double Lift actually came very close to getting his team a double kill there, and this is now North America's time to take the objectives because people are down, their AD carry is wailing on a turret, and the rest of the team is pushing mid.
This is perfect push by North America. It just got bolstered in the top lane. They had a kill for Jace, Diamond, and Alex. Then they went ahead and shut that down after their reactionary in every one of their moves.
And since they know the Twisted Fate ultimate is down, plus he's dead, it's going to be a very long time until Alex can actually aid an extra fight, which means this push for North America can continue.
Oh, there's the poke though. We got Soaz getting a bit of that Miramon damage in now with the Brutalizer. They're going to have to be careful on these engagements because they've gone for a lot of damage, but you see Saint so far ahead. Bulwark already.
I just got distracted by Doublelift's 250 minute kills because he has those at 22 minutes right now after getting a whole bunch of kills in that top lane. That is an absurd number on Graves at this stage in the game. 9,000 gold. He is 2.3k above Yellowpete at this point. He has just picked up a Phantom Dancer and a pickaxe, very well on his way to Last Whisper. So North America's one weakness of this team comp was the fact that Doublelift was their only AD damage, but he is farming so much and they're giving so much farm to him, they're trying to bypass that.
And you see that Yellowpete is actually still the way Miss Fortune is played, but really building utility, not going for the attack speed, going straight Last Whisper after that Bloodthirst.
And that's actually not that uncommon of a build for Miss Fortune, so he's doing the best with the gold that he has. The Black Cleaver might actually be the next item he wants, unless he decided to go for a Phantom Dancer if he's really worried about individual stabbing him, but that's not the case with this double AP team.
And we got a 23-minute Baron going on here. It is going to be Diamond just waiting in the wing.
And North America messed up their last game by going for this and getting it stolen, but there it is while the split push happens.
They had enough wards. They've been controlling the game. Alex, like you said, the Lichbane trying to push down the turret still. They are focusing on pressing advantages while losing a few as well.
And if they get that turret, it's still going to be 3 turrets to 3 for Europe, but they seem to have lost all hope of winning team fights. And as soon as Doublelift starts chasing down and beating up Soaz plus Alex Siege, it will be trouble for the rest of Europe. They need to wait as long as possible as actually Alex TPs to safety. North America has to reset a little bit.
See Diamond trying to give an advantage to the team, seeing if there's a blue buff there, anything they can get to edge themselves forward here. They're doing it and keeping it in mind. You heard these guys, a lot of the players, you keep a good mindset, it's going to be all right. 24 minutes in, 12-3. It is looking grim, but we know Europe can pull through in this fight.
And North America hasn't actually shopped since the Baron buff. They're sitting on about 7,500 gold right now, so that big gold lead hasn't been shopped on yet. Their advantages are purely in experience and with the Baron buff right now, unless North America decides to shop. But they're very confident in their position right now, and they look to be pushing with this Baron straight after taking the buff.
The wards going down from both sides. Oracles are there as well, so European LCS All-Stars trying to give themselves a bit of a defensive wall here with the pressure that North America's bringing. They're not even split pushing these lanes. It's brute force tactic.
And it seems like the right call to not have went back immediately. They're going to have to go back now because of that huge creep wave accumulating in the top lane. I actually feel like if Doublelift gets that, he's going to hit close to 300 minion kills by 25 minutes, and that's probably exactly where he's running off to right now, as fast as possible, taking Race on the way. He's going for some kind of Graves record here.
He is going to stick in the jungle, not going back for his buys. Skara had 2 grand on him, and he is still out on the Rift as well. So you've heard, Serves of Race coming in. He gives himself an elixir as well on the backside. These guys are just saying, we're going to fight again when we get out of the Rift.
And they realize they have a really big power play right now. They have 2 minutes left on the Baron buff. They have 1 turret left in the mid lane before they can get to the inhibitor, and a couple exposed turrets on the outside. This whole game, North America has had a little bit lacking turret pressure, but now with this huge accumulated advantage, they might be able to sweep through and take a whole bunch in one push.
Down here, 25 minutes in. Dyrus building up the Rylas right away. The Leandries might finish next, but he also has a chance to go into the Zanyas. It's really just a chunk of change flowing into their pocket. Could decide to buy at the end of the fight.
And at this point, I think the Rylas is the right choice for Dyrus because of the way they're chasing it after team fights. No one is focusing Dyrus in these fights, so he doesn't need to be able to have that clutch save that his on these Hourglass should be able to offer. And it's just going to allow more people to get stuck in that equalizer and more people to follow.
It's scary. You put Dyrus in a fight, and it's almost like, where's the J skate?
Alex.
It's like Skara just on the backside. He misses that. Doesn't have the crowd control to stop him from Destiny, but Destiny is up, and he gets himself out of that one. Woo. Oh, dear. Oh, my gosh. That was over 400 to 500 damage.
Well, you have a global. So do I. Welcome back. I have the Requiem. That was a huge burst of damage that North America pulled down, and Alex thought he had escaped while burning some ultimates, but now he has just cost them a 30-second death timer and a very powerful push in the bottom lane.
Skara knew that was going to happen. Didn't even pop the blue for it. These guys are playing so mentally, physically well in this game. It's like they're playing inside the minds of what is the EU LCS team going to do, not what are we going to do.
And keep in mind here, the last place team in this tournament to be the loser of this game will not get a bye in the World Finals here. So these games really matter for these two teams since they want a better chance for the top-seeded team to make it through.
Pressuring the first inhibitor turret in the game. North America chooses to go in. There's Diamond going in with the Zac attack. It is a huge threat for Bullet Time, but it's Saint wanting to go back in. The HPs are low for both teams. Saint takes a turret shot and goes down first. It's going to be all out to Dyrus. And then they are going into the fight.
Expesso gets hit up with a sharp blast right through the gate, and a double kill coming in for Soaz.
And I gotta say, North America just was not cohesive in that push. Scarra got caught out a little bit at the start, and then instead of either all going in or all going out, they got caught in that murky midway and just got punished by the persistent poke from Soaz and Alex. Plus, they took a lot of damage from Yellow Feet's bullet time before any of that started. That was not a good fight for them.
And at 27 minutes, you usually do not see the 1v1 for an AD carry at Dragon, but they have the capacity to do so. The map control, it's going to be 5-3 in turrets, 45,000 to 37,000, and 13 to 6. Now, this is very reminiscent of what they did versus the Chinese LPL squad. We'll see if they can carry this through.
Yeah, they hopefully aren't having flashbacks for their sake. And it's got to be a matter of mental fortitude for these guys, because they can't collapse again. They played this game ridiculously solid, and the pressure is on here because even with that Baron buff, they were unable to crack the inhibitor wall that Europe LCS has been able to put up here. So maybe they're going to wait for the next Baron. Maybe they're just going to hope until they get a big team fight, but they got to be a little bit wary after what happened yesterday.
And these walls are becoming individual players right now. You already have Doublelift building up into a Giant's belt, factoring out that his damage is far surpassing already, and he can do that kind of plateau in safety to still fight.
Doublelift did this yesterday in his first game. He actually went Phantom Dancer, I believe. It was either Phantom Dancer Bloodthirst or Phantom Dancer Infinity, straight into like a Frozen Mallet.
Yeah, the Frozen Mallet.
So he actually needs to be careful he doesn't transition to defense too soon, because we know that North America is lacking in attack damage, and since he's went for the defense early here, there will be a point where North America will be lacking in attack damage since they have essentially a triple AD team across the rest of their lineup.
2-0-7 Doublelift. You see how much damage these guys do to the turrets, and it's really not able to be answered just yet by the European LCS All-Stars. They have the items to engage that fight. We saw how much damage North America took at that turret engagement. The Black Cleaver, the Last Whisper, is there to shred everything North America's bringing to the table. So the Europeans are putting everything in their pocket they need for these engagements.
And North America is putting all the pennies in Doublelift too, because 336 minion kills. You have to keep in mind, it's not because Scar and Dyrus haven't been farming well, it's because they're giving the farm to Doublelift. Anytime they're pushed up in a lane and a wave comes through, they give all 6 to Doublelift. That's why he's got 12.8 thousand gold right now and 2,200 in the bank. He's going to have to really perform in these team fights since they've given him so many resources throughout the game.
He is basically 3,000 gold ahead of everybody in the game right now. Finishing the Frozen Mallet like it was on sale. 30 minutes into this one, it is looking like a game one for North America, but it is not yet over. We know Europe can hold this one out, and we know they know how to guard that base.
And Alex has taken down a couple chip shots to that bottom lane. Only one turret between him and the inhibitor while North America tries to poke around this Baron. North America's going to want to initiate fast.
Diamond gets hit there. The ward control is going to allow them to engage this. Let's Bounce is out of the fight.
There's actually a misfortune with Alex Each, so unless North America gets this Baron down super fast, that inhibitor's going down.
This is going to be very big. That attack speed isn't there.
They got to worry about the steal too.
They are going for it. The steal is down. Could be there for the last slingshot. It does not come in. The turret goes down. They're still just waiting on the outside. Really inside to go in. Oh, they get the transformation of the Polymorph onto him. It's going to be Doublelift picking up the Baron. They're still on the inhibitor. It looks like they're going for Nexus turrets in the base right now. The pip showing you the damage, and it looks like they're going to be able to take out Diamond. But losing that base, they got to get back. They couldn't lose the base here. Oh my God, they're going to go for the next Nexus turret. It may go down. They take down one. It's going to be Scar from the back. Keeps him in. The Nexus is down to half out. Do they have enough damage to take it down? Oh my gosh, they get back just in time to save it. The Lichbane is such a huge factor in this game right now.
Wow, Riv, is all I can say after that one. They barely made it back in time, but that is a huge detriment to North America. What a power play by Europe, forcing them into that decision. And North America almost with another throw at Baron like we saw against the Chinese team. They may not be able to come back from that because that back door is consistently open. They cannot rebuild that in any way. Even if the inhibitor responds, that's not for another 5 minutes. North America might want to try to end this right now before they can even think about Alex stealing again, but they can't. They have to be so incredibly cautious with how they push, or just go immediately.
There they are. They're on to Edward. They may be able to take him down here. Edward goes up, but he's only got dropped straight down. He goes down from Xpecial. That is one for them, and the inhibitor is going to be there.
And this is a 4-man push. They're actually keeping Scar back, but they have so much power in these 4 people. Double with those 351 minion kills, plus the Baron buff. They want to end it, probably on this push.
Let's bounces back up for Diamond. He goes in. Doublelift very low. Just gets himself out. Oh, he cleanses. There's the DF. The cleanse
Can they turn this one around? Alex finally has the Zonias. Is it gonna matter? Doublelift still alive. He goes down to the Ignite burn from, it's gonna be Alex Each. They continue the fight on. It looks grim here for Yellow Pete. The team is backing off. Soaz very low health as they get out of this one.
The focus by Europe was actually really correct in that fight. The fact that they took down Doublelift means this push cannot end the game for North America. They were able to trade an inhibitor back, but they did not get any Nexus turrets, and that was a successful hold for Europe.
You know, chat, an amazing play here from the EU LCS to bring back the bottom inhibitor turret to Nexus turrets. The Lich Bane was always the right buy for Alex. Like you said, he was shut down in middle. He wasn't there for fights after he got hit up that bad. He was there to make that play.
They pushed that turret so incredibly fast, and they turned themselves into a split push team. Right after they realized they couldn't win team fights early on at the Dragon fight, and they have really clawed their way back, specifically off that play.
Looks like Yellow Pete taking a little love from the Gambit Gaming side. Buys himself up. The Guardian Angels. He's feeling safe. He wants that second life. So now they have two passives, or two lives, I should say. The Zac passive coming in and the Yellow Pete. That's going to control focus a little bit. Now that the Zonias is there, we saw that cause trouble for NA right there.
And it's all a matter of Europe avoiding North America as a unit. If EU actually faces NA in a full-on 5v5 fight, they probably lose the game. So I don't think we're going to see that in any capacity. It's all about Alex keeping pressure towards the bottom lane, where he has that exposed inhibitor and no turrets defending the Nexus. And it's so tricky for North America to keep their own side of the map warded and make sure that TF can't pull anything tricky, because with that Lich Bane, that Nexus will go down so fast.
A little bit of a lull. We're going to take this for granted here.
Yeah.
34 minutes in. It's going to be a Dragon coming in for the Europeans when this is Doublelift's 1v1 Dragon. That's how much pressure they had. Doublelift was there by himself. It's now Europe's, and so is that side of the map. They have it back. They are starting to regain so much control, and they have, like you said, 8,000 gold down, a backdoor to always go into. Not very common.
Such a miraculous play to make that happen, and it's completely hamstrung where North America is able to go here. Now we see Doublelift, who's nearing 400 mini kills already at 34 minutes, off in a side lane. So if Europe actually got a fight here, North America wouldn't have all their damage, and EU might go in.
They're trying to hit it up a few times. Dyrus trying to get some tags down. They are just going tit for tat here. You see Alex Each going to the top side. Will he decide to go for this? Chat could be.
There were so many wards in that side of the jungle for North America that as soon as they saw us creeping forward, they went in. And the fact that there was Graves in the bottom lane, while Europe could have had a 5v4 fight, they didn't take it, tells me their focus is about backdooring. But Saint might catch Alex.
He locks him down. Oh my gosh, they are going to use absolutely everything. He gets hit up the depth charge. The bullet time goes right across, but is it enough? EU LCS trying to get the damage down here. Edwards on the backside. Yellow Pete is in the front right now, getting all the damage down. Guardian Angels goes down. Scar is still actually alive on this one. The Seraph's Embrace keeping him healthy, and it looks like they're going to be able to push through on that one. But look at Soaz.
Soaz is going for the Nexus. He did not die to the card assault. Can Eddie get back in time?
Does he have the damage? And Ramon is there. There's the W. He's trying to get the shots out. Oh, they're going to come back. He's going to go down to minions. There's Dyrus picking up the kill as well. It's so close for both teams.
And now Doublelift, while he was split pushing, did not come to the team fight. His rally flag in the bottom lane was correct this time, and maybe he can get the Nexus turret.
Deja vu Doublelift. We've seen it before. He's not against the Rise this time, but it looks like he's going to keep safe for this moment. Edward just in his face. He knows he can orb walk this one. Oh my gosh, missing the repel burst, like collateral damage. A little of it ticking on, but it looks like they're going to be able to finalize that kill, and he's going to have himself a turret and maybe a death here.
Alex Each spawns right now. There's 10 seconds left on Diamond and 7 on Yellow Team, but all of North America is here. Sans Scar, they might go for the win here.
Locking up Alex there. It's going to be Doublelift only focusing on the Nexus turret, and the Nexus. North America getting backdoored, but they go right through the front door, and they bring it back to the European LCS All-Stars to go to a game 2.
That was such an incredible game. You can see the stress actually on the North American faces after that one, because boy, did they ever have that game in hand. And you can just hear the chatter in this arena as everyone has to talk after that game.
You know what, chat? The community said 53-47.
That was about it.
So it's looking like that's a damn good prediction.
That game was just really back and forth just because of the amazing plays that Europe pulled out near the end. Alex really tried. Soaz underestimated the power of the minions near the end there, and Skara actually did a whole bunch of work in that team fight, considering he'd given so much of his farm the whole game towards Doublelift, and then they actually won the last fight close to 4v5, maybe in part because the focus of Europe was on getting the Nexus rather than just winning the fight that was in front of them.
Absolutely, and we saw a completely changed team of North America that faced the LPL squad. They probably went on Reddit, read all the comments. Guys, why'd you start to lose mid-game? And really, it was interesting that they were able to do it this time, too, because Doublelift was out of the fights. He was farming and still was able to come back and help the team when they needed it.
And I got to see what his final mid kill was, 408. That was a 36-minute game, 519 on Graves. Really amazing performance. Aside from that Frozen Mallet, just full offensive builds. That was
that's a lane
woozy.
He lane paycheck.
Doozy?
No lane taxing. Absolutely a doozy, indeed. It's only going to make for a more amazing game too. I mean, both teams fought perfectly. They just have to figure out why it affected them so much in the early game. Just the Wraiths getting pressured on Diamond. Diamond is usually everywhere, and they really did focus it.
Well, even at the first Dragon fight, we really saw how much control North America had, and it wasn't until that mid-game falter that they did start to fall behind. If we think back to actually the last 2 games for both of these teams, Europe has lost most of the game consistently twice in a row, whereas North America has won most of the game twice in a row now. So if we're thinking about momentum carrying over across these days, North America would have a huge edge.
Momentum is huge. We've heard every player say it. But now let's send it over to D-Man and Freak to take us through the Game 1's biggest plays.
Thank you very much, Raven. What an amazing game to start with in that series. Wasn't really expecting it. I thought they'll have the lane phase. I thought this is all over. This is all over so easily. But what a crazy ending. The crowd in here absolutely went wild.
I gotta say, I love the crowd. It's one of my favorite things about live events.
On cue.
On cue. I'm actually... Yeah, I gotta say, I'm jealous of you guys at ULCS. You get live crowds at your... I thought they were going to go again, sorry. And events like this are absolutely amazing. You guys, if you're hearing this and you could have come and you didn't, you're missing out, because this is one of my favorite events. The crowd is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely fantastic game, and you know, everybody loved that game, and it was interesting to see, because as soon as the picks and bans came out, I was like, oh my god, they've just given Soaz Jace, and they've given Alex Twisted Fate, and they've given Europe this, and I was thinking, how is this ever going to go with their favor? But St. Vicious had other plans.
He was the guy who stepped up so much. I mean, he was the really undisputed jungler pick. A couple of the lanes were, well, it might have gone to Voy or Dyrus, it might have gone one way or the other, but it was like, we're definitely going with Saint. And he was actually making the calls during that game. He was the one really calling the shots, making everything happen, finding the ganks, and I mean, he caused so much of that game to go well for North America.
I can only imagine what you guys at home are probably thinking after watching that game. I'm sure the Europeans, well, it's 8:53 in London right now, so you guys having an early morning, you'll be sat there thinking, oh my god, we're 1-0 down. Wow. That's how wild this place is. It's pretty loud in here. 8:53 in the morning in London. The Europeans waking up to this one and thinking, what are they going to do? What are they going to do, Freak, to get back into this one? Let's take us through this match.
Yeah, so let's actually start out with a replay of one of the big team fights, because that seemed to be the downfall of the Europeans here. So it's a dragon fight, and you kind of look at the sort of uncoordination, I would say, of the European team. Let's roll the clip out. It's just 2-0 right now, but it gets really, really bad really fast. So as folks out, they have vision, they spot the Americans coming in, but just watch the engage. It's so incredibly strong. Just watch St. Vicious on Nautilus, right? He gets jumped on, but Diamond's kind of alone. The team follows up a little bit late. The stun comes off and actually hits 2 to 3 people, and the equalizer hits everybody as well, and so the area of effect damage output is just there, and they burn everyone down. And now watch Skara. He gets wild growth. Of course, no one's actually hit him early on. The early engage by the Europeans didn't go for him much at all. Skara finally falls over, gets to Requiem everyone across, and you just see the team fall over at this point. You know, at this point, it's cleanup crew, because the damage came off from the wrong sources for the European team. You get easy cleanups at this point. You got stuns on the right guys, focus on the right guys, and it was a coordination team fight, really, is what it was. It's a 4-for-1 because of coordination.
And speaking of coordination, one thing that I always noticed in those team fights was the fact that Yellow Pete got caught a lot. He was always hooked in. St. Vicious was on him every single time.
And that's kind of troubling, honestly. Like, he's a very, very good player. He's on a strong team. But as far as individual all-star stepping up goes, he's had, I think, the hardest time accelerating himself to this world stage where everyone is ludicrously good.
So what do we see? What are we thinking for this next match? What sort of picks and bans? What do you think they need to aim for, Europe in particular, to get themselves back in this and maybe take it to a third game?
I think they got to find that early game lead. If I had to sort of peg each team into roles. I think European has it on individual skill by a bit. I think they're like person-by-person players are a little bit stronger, but the Americans have coordination down much better. Their team fighting is stronger. You saw them nearly take out the Chinese LPL team with a clever strategy. They just couldn't quite close it out. And so for Europe, it's like, go give Diamond Evelyn again. Go give him the early game champions to snowball lanes ahead, right? Take that role away from St. Vicious, and then your just farm advantage can carry it from there. I think Europe, start out strong, go for the early game, and you're clean.
And what about North America? Obviously, we heard from Steve earlier, the manager of North America, how he talked them through the Chinese match and broke it down really exactly what they need to do. They seem to have a really good game plan coming into this tournament.
I think they've just prepared more for the event. And they said, yeah, we really only prepared for the Chinese team and we'll take the rest by ear. But even this match looked pretty good. They seemed to be on point, right? They played the give Doublelift all the farm game and he ran out and soloed lanes the entire time. And so it's either find a way to kill off Doublelift to remove the threats, again, for the European side, or the Americans are like, great, we'll just keep playing our sort of default, we all know what we're doing style.
What do you make of the lane changes that they did? Obviously, Doublelift, it seemed to work very well for them. They've really stacked on Alex in that mid lane. And obviously, Skara, he's so used to doing that roll down that bottom lane with Karthus.
It's the old adage. It's if you're going to gank or pressure a lane, gank the lane with the global, right? Gank the Shen, gank the Twisted Fate. Don't gank the guy who's going to get Shen ulted because then you didn't do anything and you lost that fight. It's pressure that guy, get him down because then you can't help, right? And he's helpless to do anything. And Alex never had enough ability power to wave clear, right? Never had a lot of ability power to stack up from his Lich Bane. Wasn't a big split push threat. You saw Doublelift basically duel in from half health underneath one of Alex's own turrets. That's what happens when you 2v1 a mid laner like that.
Absolutely. So, up next, of course, it is the second battle between North America and Europe. Do not go anywhere. You certainly don't want to miss it. If North American LCS team can take the next game, they'll be advancing through the semi-final round of the All-Star Tournament and earn their last bye for the Season 3 World Playoffs. And, of course, that would be against Korean LCL team. So either one of these teams that get through, it's a tough challenge for them. But stick around. The 2013 League of Legends All-Star Weekend. We'll be right back after this.
guys. They get a depth charge all the way to Edward and Alex East. The crowd control is just too much, as well as the area of effect. Look how big Satan is going into this fight. Edward's going to be forced to turn around. He tries to get an execute down, but it's not going to work. It's going to be Doublelift only focusing on the Nexus turret, and the Nexus, North America getting backdoored, but they go right through the front door, and they bring it back to the European LCS All-Stars.
Welcome back, everybody, to the All-Star Weekend here in Shanghai. And I'm here on the floor. There are tons of fans here, and we've got an awesome signing wall, and all the fans can sign their names and which team they are rooting for here. And there's also a very special and a very popular person signing the wall right now. It is Stanley, and we're going to have a little chat with him. Yeah. Now, Stanley, you must be used to writing autographs by now. Of course, you were catapulted into fame with the Season 2 championships, and you got your rings in the ceremony. What was that like, being up on that stage, being honored?
这感觉让我像是回到当初赢了 Season 2的那种感觉一样。
It feels like it's like going back to when he won the Season 2 World Championships, so that's a good feeling.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, is there a lot of times that you think about that moment, the moment you win that game and you realize, oh my God, we are the Season 2 champions?
我们尽量让自己不要回到那个时刻，因为我们如果一直往前看的话，就会怠惰，所以我们希望呢，尽量让自己不要回到那个时刻，因为我们如果一直往前看的话，就会怠惰，所以我们希望能就是把这个东西存在心里面，然后继续向后看齐。
He said that like they tried their best to not always go back to that moment, because they feel like if they always go back to that moment, they can't make any breakthroughs or improvement. So what they do is they keep that feeling in their hearts, and then they will look for new ways to improve and move on to the next one.
Amazing. And finally, you're here at the event. You seem to have tons of fans. How is it meeting all of them and interacting with them?
I like them.
I think that is clear. Thank you very much, Stanley, and success, much luck, of course, in your upcoming match. And for now, we're going to go back over to Jat and Rift to dive into our next match.
Thank you very much, Shax. And we're getting ready to head into our second game between North America and Europe. And after an incredible Game 1 full of huge team fights and backdoor base invades, how do you see this next match going down, Kat? Because this is chaotic as well as like just a perfect waltz for these teams.
I feel like Europe's really going to have to come out in the early game if they want a chance in this one, because you only get one miraculous comeback opportunity. I don't think if they fall behind early in the second one, they're going to be able to come back again like they did in the first. So maybe we'll see a bit more focus on the early game picks, or maybe a little bit more focus on shutting down Doublelift of all things, because people just kind of forgot about that guy, and then he ended up getting 400 mini kills and taking over.
Well, what do you do when he's like, no, I haven't played this one? How are you going to counter that? Because if you try to ban this one, I'll play that one.
That was the thing. So Graves was the wave clear guy in that situation, and they picked the double AP composition and then relied on him to get all the free lane farm. And it's very difficult to shut down someone getting the free lane farm unless you pick a really amazing duelist for them. Even though they had Jace and Twisted Fate, neither of those guys could actually beat Graves in a fight. So it's going to have to be early game and then also have someone who can win the kind of free lane farm battle.
It's like the focus is still the same for the bans coming out, North American LCS side, as well the TF actually going out because it can be forced this time by North America.
And that's still a fair amount of respect given to Skara. They used a Twisted Fate ban directly on him. Oh. So that's good stuff.
It's one hook or the other. Nautilus is still open, and St. Vicious' Nautilus was off the hook, as we were saying. We'll have to see what they can choose to do, but they do decide to go with Xpecial's Thresh. And we have been saying Xpecial has been playing out of his mind this week.
From the Lulu play last game, where pretty much every polymorph was just a perfect counter to Let's Bounce, perfectly timed. His Janna stuff yesterday was also amazing. Now it's time for Thresh plays, because you don't actually think of Janna and Lulu as playmaking supports, even though Xpecial was making plays on them. I can't wait to see what he does with Thresh.
And we have to consider that would probably put Edward on the Sona that Alex also loves him to play. But as we go to lock in for Soaz, he does feel like Jace was that comfort, but we may see that go somewhere else.
Yeah, they locked him in early, I think mainly to make sure that Dyrus didn't get a hold of him, since they used the Rumble ban on Dyrus and they didn't want to let him get Jace, because Soaz did not have a great game on Jace last time. He very much struggled, and Diamond is a
Jarvan being picked, if that's actually going to go in the jungle, is a very strange pick for Diamond. That's not really his type of jungle.
It looks like they may be leaving that top lane out. Malphite's still there for Dyrus, and he did have a good game. It wasn't able to actuate the win for them when it came to the team fights. But that's open. We see a Zed being hovered over as well here for EU.
And the Zed hover here for EU could just, they're not going to have to worry about the Lulu interrupting it again, but as we've all seen in Mad Life's Thresh, you can still interrupt the Let's Bounce if you time things properly from X Special's side. And I just want to talk about the Nautilus again. That was such a solid pick for St. Vicious. He had it from start to finish, and being able to get that again will give them a lot of kill potential in their lanes.
And something that we've noted throughout St. Vicious's career in the LCS is he was one of the junglers to have the most hands in first bloods for his team. So having the impact of Nautilus again is huge for him.
And he will always try to make impact early. That's one of the reasons that North America did so well against China, even though they weren't able to win, and why they did so well in that last game. His early presence was all over the place. It was the late game that was always the issue for North America.
You see that Karthus, like you said, being locked in still, but we'll have to see if they decide to swap the lanes this time around as Yellow Bees locking in the Varus, and they do actually lock in that Zac.
I love how the giant Nautilus just locking in portraits, but the Varus pick is just Yellow Pete getting back to his even more comfortable champion. He played a lot of Misfortune and a lot of Varus here, so it gives them a little bit more crowd control so they don't lose necessarily those fights so badly. It's strange that even a Misfortune or Varus, both those guys have the power in fights, but they really need the shutdown.
Also, they're going for the double lift. Possibly this time, they got him into an antsy situation of trouble last time where, as you said in the replay, double lift focused a little bit faster than Dyrus could, and he took turret aggro, so they're going to go, no. Safety the other way.
They're just, no, we're not going to be diving in, we're going to be diving out.
That also depends on who you play like.
It does depend on who he plays like, but at least he has the option to. When he
got the Dyrus dive in.
That's a very comfortable team for North America. They got the double hooks, a huge amount of damage from Scarra. This could be one of those fights where games where they don't want to give all the farm to double lift and make sure a bit more is on Scarra, since they need Scarra actually to bring their magic damage to the fights rather than just their AD, since they can get some of that from Renekton as well. So I like that composition overall for North America.
I have to say 2 perfect picks there to finalize that out against a Jarvan. Not going to keep any of those guys locked down.
Doesn't seem like it. Maybe a Scarra. Everyone else
the last
is going to be hopping around.
That was just the last 2 picks.
But even if we look at Thresh and Nautilus, they can find their ways out of that wall as well. It's actually just Scarra who Diamond can 100% keep in there. Wow. So seeing these last few picks, unless they do some kind of lane swap and throw Jarvan into a lane, it does look like we're going to be seeing Diamond on Jarvan, which will be a new experience for me.
I'm very not confused, but interested to see that they didn't pick Sona. That's an all-in initiation. Karthus walking into Nautilus, Thresh. A Crescendo would be perfect for that disengage, but it's only going to be safety for one person. Maybe a Let's Bounce wild go?
And I don't know. North America knows something we don't know, because they picked Lulu before any supports and denied it essentially from Europe if Europe is able to pick it with their last pick. A lot of it could just do with the Let's Bounce again, because they can all knock people aside and then Lulu can knock them up for these team fights. But I do definitely favor North America's composition here.
It looks good. Scarra still being able to kind of that press R composition, not as much, but its presence if they need it. We'll have to see if this composition maybe gives EU a little bit more roam, more safety in their lanes for just that surefire mid-game to late-game and pressure objectives.
Yeah, I feel like EU is definitely going stronger for the lane with the jungle Jarvan. He wants to be able to make the impact right away. He got shut down on Zac last time. So the biggest thing we're actually going to have to keep track of is where the AD carry and support go for North America. Are Double Lift and X Special going to be shutting down Diamond plus Alex in this game, or is Europe going to have a totally different plan to try to stop that from happening?
You know what's interesting to consider as well as we talk about the junglers a little bit, a lot of the North American LCS in the end, or even the European LCS, we saw the junglers hugging lanes in the 2v1s for quite some time to soak up experience, but we've really not seen any of that.
That is a very good observation, and that could just be the fact different regions coming together, not as much time together, and we got to remember that was also the LCS promotion, so it could be a whole different cast of teams trying to pull off that strategy. And I also got to say, there's been more 2v1 mids, and the ganks there are much less successful or pressuring than the 2v1s that we'd see in the side lanes.
All right, we'll have to see. All the stops do have to be pulled out by Europe in this next matchup. The best of 3 so far underway. 1 game in the favor of North America as we are onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, and into the match.
So now we see Europe coming in. How many wards do they have? They actually picked up a pink on Soaz. Nothing but wards and potions for him early on. Zach, a lot of Zach's actually starting with rejuve beads to just stack with his crazy health regeneration in lane, but it's actually Dyrus who's went for the rejuvenation bead if they, in some crazy world, actually laned against each other.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Looking at the wards as I give him a chance, the eyes on. We're going to see a lot of safety coming in. No, not even semi-deep wards. There was NA all over the Wraith ward right off the bat, as well as pink warding things out to make sure there wasn't vision in the beginning.
And they don't want to get invaded early here.
Third.
North America is actually looking to press a little bit, and they have more pressure early because if they land a Thresh death sentence, it might give them opportunity to make something happen.
Able to walk it all the way in on this one to make sure they're safe. Actually put it out on the side to make sure they can see a little bit more.
But North America doesn't have everyone here. Look out, Scar!
Oh, he walks into the bush. The Ignite goes down. The Flash is out. No, the Ignite did not go down. It was very kind of slow reaction there by a few.
That was a little bit touchy.
It's like Scar didn't know and you didn't know. They both were kind of surprised at the situation.
There was no reason for Scar to walk into that brush either. It was one of those ways where you're saying, I wonder what's in this brush. If I find people, I'm probably going to die. If I don't check the brush, not much bad is going to happen. Do you check the brush?
The coin
Don't do
flip.
it. Don't do it.
So he should be all right, but he is going to have to use a few of those potions to keep himself in the lane. But he's just going to be happy farming. Gives Diamond over to the Wolves and the blue. Orthodox starts for the junglers, and it looks like the swap coming in for EU as they're going to hug down to the golems in the top lane and put their AD carry up top.
And I actually wonder if before that flash, Scar was going to be going to a different lane, because now without the flash, he is so vulnerable. He has to be in mid lane to even have a hope of surviving against a Jarvan gank. So they're not going to be able to pull off a 2-1 shut on Alex Siege, whether or not that had something to do with Scar having to burn 5 women.
Like Soaz down to the bottom lane after giving a good assist to Diamond as he's making his way through the jungle. Like you said, Scar being very hurt in that mid lane without flash, his love of CS can really get him in trouble in that situation.
And he's got to be super careful without the flash to not let Alex Siege completely punish him. We know how well Alex Siege and Diamond can work together. Diamond's rushed this level 3 very early on here. He got the Smiteless blue pull, and if I were him, I'd be running mid lane almost immediately, and he might take the long way around too to try to avoid a potential ward.
He's going to stop for those Wraiths right quick. Nah, he is actually, like you said, quickly ahead of Saint here. Saint still working on that red. Saint's going to the Wraiths just now, but it's going to be Diamond's activation in middle of the gank if he decides to go for it.
And it looks like Diamond is just cruising through the river. He may have avoided the ward. He actually didn't. He's going to be instead going for the 3-man dive up top early season 3, but Saint Vicious is on to Diamond.
Wow, sniffing that one out. And it looks like they will be able to counter this. And Diamond isn't even really wanting the situation either. They kind of haven't seen each other coming through this.
No, Saint did not see Diamond here, but now he does. And do they decide to go in? He's burned his shield early.
There we go. They are going to be able to just kind of pressure this one out. No movement from anywhere else here. So it's just 2v3.
It's a lot of poke going down, and this is that jungler support we were literally just talking about before the game coming back in this one. LCS habits coming back into this match, and they just decide to back away because Saint arrived to protect.
Still, the push is going down. It's normally what you see, the AD carry and support on the 2v1 lane, getting the damage down onto that turret. Last time it was different in mid. It was all about the roaming presence, but here it's about that global presence and pressuring down those turrets.
And North America did not get many turrets early in the last game. I don't think they had one down about 14 or 15 minutes into the game. This is probably going to be a lot different this time because it looks like X Special and Double is priority in that lane rather than killing Soaz is to get damage on that turret.
And once again, Saint's going to kind of hug this top lane. He feels that Diamond 6th sense as well, but it's not going to be much. And Alex on a quick roam here, maybe trying to draw in something from Scarra to feel like he can all in him.
And he knows Scarra has no flash. Alex has also got an early point in a W, so if Scarra would have went any closer, Alex would have gotten him, but he's still sneaking in behind him. And look out, Scarra, those minis look tasty.
Oh, he wanted the CS, and he got himself out there. Alex, shock blast just off to the side. It's a good warning shot.
Yeah, if that shock blast would have landed, I feel like he would have tried to all in him a little bit more. Knowing Scarra still has that exhaust, he decided to not even worry about it, not waste too many resources, and just continue to farm that way.
We have a little bit of attention from Diamond in the bottom lane here. He did decide that he might back. He could have said Soaz says, I'm all right, you don't have to worry about it, and the minions aren't pushing that fast as they're somewhat freezing us.
But if X Special and Double get a little bit too aggressive here, they could very well get ganked. Has his buffs ran out yet on Diamond? He just has the red buff. It just expired, so if he ganks, it's without many snares.
X Special is on the move for Hook. He's hugging the right side of that minion wave, making sure he has the activation on it. But it looks like they're going to hold Diamond here, and this may start to affect him.
Yeah, Diamond spending a lot of time here while St. Fitch's is off farming his wolves, so if nothing happens with this camp by Diamond, it's going to give St. Fitch's maybe a little edge here.
The Saints still down in CS on that. They do jump in for the one. It's only going to be Diamond coming in. They get some extra damage here as they poke back and forth, but nobody can really act on anything.
Even though there was a lantern burned early, they just weren't able to get into range. No red buff, no real threat from that gank, and Soaz wasn't confident enough to try to jump in because he himself didn't have any knowledge that Saint wasn't just there waiting.
Saint back to the top lane, actually looking to help push this wave as well, as Yellow Pete and Edward have cleared the lane. They're both going to go back on this one. So some of our first buys in the matchup, we see Diamond leaving with the Spirit Stone, and again, the supports going straight for these Sight Stones.
Good call by the supports, knowing that really the early game is so key in this matchup because North America has dominated it in the last game, and also in North America's game against China yesterday, whereas Europe has fallen behind pretty heavily against Korea yesterday in game 2. So really trying to feel each other out here. Dead even gold once again.
Dead even gold there, but the 2v1 lane, the help from Saint, maybe helping a little bit here, 20 CS to 10 CS. As Soaz having a bit of trouble down there at the bottom, and he's really got the harass from that Ezreal and the Thresh. That's a hard lane to 2v1.
And it might just be more than that because, I mean, Diamond's just back in the brush again, so he's really 2v2ing this lane.
That's true.
And an interesting thing of note, too, just based off of jungle pressure, Saint is opting for Boots ability instead of a Spirit Stone. But look out, they're going because Lulu's around the back as well.
Knocking it in, they put the Ignite down quite early, the play back. Can it be the flag toss execution? He flashes out of the bump up, and it looks like it's going to be Edward on the right side. They support Carey coming in for the kill. Really gonna get the kill for himself. Oh my gosh, 1 for 1. The Requiem comes down. It's going to be the True Shot Mirage just on the tail side of Diamond, but not enough damage.
X-Special trading support for support. Mono E Mono pulls him into the turret, makes Edward pay for his Flash Ignite. So that gank was good for Europe because they were able to trade the kills, but it was better for North America because they didn't expend as many resources to get that happening.
Tears being stacked up as we see some of these inventories now starting to fill out. They're able to get out of these lanes, which have been so much more aggressive back and forth, and they're not getting the momentum they had last game. Europe able to finding a way to stall this out, and Yellow Pete winning a little bit of a 1v1 there, even with Soaz on the right.
That was a very safe trade for Yellow Pete to take because if Doublelift would have decided the all-in hit, Soaz could have definitely decided to cancel his back and go in and kill Doublelift. So really good opportunistic harass there at Doublelift. Luckily didn't decide to harass back.
The Giants belt very quickly coming in for Soaz here. At that, those are a lot of longswords. Sail on longswords, aisle 5 right now for ELS.
Oh dear, so maybe that is a... We could see a Lizard Spirit coming out from Diamond on Jarvan if he decides to transform into those, and probably a Brutalizer coming out from Alex Each. I don't think those are actually building towards the same item.
See X-Special giving Edward a call there, saying hi. Soaz taking a little bit of harass from Dyrus in the top lane. Dyrus is 40 CS and Soaz is 19.
That is a huge difference, and maybe it just has to do with the way the junglers were deciding to camp the lanes. When Saint came up, he just showed himself, and he kind of tried to scare them back and maybe let Dyrus farm. Whereas Diamond was hiding away and trying to bait in a kill, and I feel like that cost him in farm.
Very well played by Doublelift and X-Special in that bottom lane to pretty much freeze it just outside of that turret range as well, taunting Soaz to ever so slightly step out of line when he needs to. Yellow Pete now taking hold of that lane as Soaz says, it'll be all right. I'll be all right in the top lane. And he really isn't taking too much damage.
No, and they're back to brawling right now. Giants Belt's a great build here for Soaz right now since he's getting percentage or max health back from his Bloblets when he goes in, and Dyrus really hasn't shopped in quite some time, so for now, even though he's down in minion kills in that lane, he's going to be able to hold his own and maybe catch up.
Alright, they see an activation in mid here. Move up could be going over to Skara. Nice hammer back. Alex keeps himself safe.
And in this mid lane, Scars actually went for Catalyst first instead of Tier first because he was worried about the kill potential of Alex. It's one of the reasons he's been able to kind of keep pace at farm despite losing that flash early and getting beaten up a bit, so slow down in the late game transition for Skara, but survival in the lane.
And without North America kind of having a go-to strat here to start, it's an orthodox, you know, kind of laning up. Everybody's in the same lane you would be. They're not as far ahead in CS as they were last game.
This game is completely even. 1 kill to 1, no turrets taken, and the gold is just 200 apart. Really, we're going to see a breaking point maybe at some point, whether it's a backfire dive, whether Diamond actually gets one of these camping in Russia's ganks to pay off, or whether we see a dragon fight. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
They're still focusing on Alex here. He's still one of the guys they want to continue to pressure, but it's the bottom lane that finds a bit more. 100-0, right quick.
Well, there's the wait for a while and go. They had a pink ward in the brush that Diamond was waiting in, so he waited for the recharge of his flag jump combo because he'd come over the wall in the sneaky way. And with that, they might be trying to take down this dragon. They didn't really burn that much from that fight, so if NA wants to defend this or contest this, it could be a dangerous fight.
That is huge. They have the area of effect to really take this one in. Skara coming from the backside. Requiem is up. Can initiate or end this fight. Saint just on the outside. They aren't going to pressure, but he is going to lead them into this brawl. May hook back. No, they decide to completely go away.
Yeah, Saint was thinking of walking up and maybe getting a smite steal, but then he realized they didn't have enough people there, and the team was definitely not going to be backing him up. So once he got polymorphed, it really just burned a flash, and he didn't get close enough to try for a smite steal. So that was definitely a great play for Europe because they forced NA to waste a bunch of time at Dragon and got no reward for it.
We look at the inventories here after our first Dragon on the game. The Lizard Elder, yes, going into the hands of Diamond. Yellow Pete farming that hole. Bottom there, played up. Yellow Pete could go down. He gets barriered on as well. He's not going to get out of this one alive. Double it picks that one up.
I believe X Special led that off with a death sentence that just caught Yellow Pete off guard. Still had a flash. Yellow Pete didn't even flash away. He was just overextended and got hooked.
Came around from the lip of Tribush. That Fog of War gameplay really helping out with that kill. So 12 minutes into this one, already seeing the Dragon down. That really didn't happen until 18 or so minutes before. The first Dragon fight last game left both teams crippled. And right now, EU is saying, you know, we don't need momentum to start this game. We're just going to start from the ground and go up.
And they've been farming away pretty well in all of these lanes. You can see 116 to 101 to Skara. Alex Each been sitting on that tier that got us for quite some time, where Skara just got his. So that's going to be a much later transformation for his tier that got us item that Skara gets into. And Alex Each, finally, I think this is the first game he's had in this All-Star event where he's gotten going a bit early.
That did do for him. He's still sitting at that 1,000% on kills, deaths, and assists. So let's see if we can get under his belt here. He's been pressured, so we'll have to see.
Picks up the Manamune, and we could very well see a bunch of people converge to the bottom. There are two people of Europe in the base right now, so if North America forces this, they would have the Requiem to assist in their 3v3.
Special puts the pink ward down, allows Nautilus and St. Vicious to come in from the backside. Chain of Corruption is on. He's going to see Jarvan right next to him. Says, whoa, it's going to be a 3v3, ladies and gentlemen. They go in as well as the Requiem. They lock down the Cataclysm. It's Special staying in front of Double It, but Double It, Arcane flashing into the fight, and it looks like he's going to be able to pick up Diamond.
Diamond, the sole death in that fight, and there was actually a big lack of focus by North America in the start of that fight, with Double It focusing most of his early damage on Edward, but St. Fish is trying to lock down Yellow Pete, and who would have guessed that Diamond's the one that ends up dying at the end of it because he Cataclysmed in to try to save. That was just the advantage from NA because they knew they had the Requiem, and they baited that Varus ultimate in for a fake engage.
See how the lanes are still faring. You see the bottom are going very well for Double It again, and 2-0 in one game for him to start off. Looks like they're going to try to get him going as well. Zero mana Scar. He's got the blue, but he's not going to have enough to maybe get away from this one. Alex hits him away, dodges the Shock Blast.
Really having to wait for that flash until Alex burned his Q, because if he would have flashed early, he would have just been sniped. He was overextended, getting hungry for some of those minions. Scar tends to do that sometimes. Alex punishes him for it by burning both of his summoner spells.
Alex also played that one smart. He did not flash, so he may have the second engagement when Scar comes back. Scar used everything to get out of that.
Still Rod of Ages finally completed by Scar, though. He is slowly but surely farming up. This is not the clip you'd expect from a mid lane Karthus. I still think some of that happened because of the flash he had to burn early, and also because this is the first time Alex Each is really free to do what he wants. He's on an AD champion. He's really excelled on those since the start of Season 3, and if Europe wants to win, coming into the tournament, we thought they were going to have to play like Gambit, which meant Alex Each is going to have to just farm up a Storm and then flank it in team fights, and they're actually on their way to doing that.
And you have to give a thumbs up and a hats off to Alex so far. How many times has Saint bed mid to give him trouble, and he's still up about 30 CS on Scar?
Yeah, we've been talking so much about Diamond sitting bottom lane. Saint's done that equally as much to Alex, but the ganks haven't even been close. That's why we haven't been showing it on camera necessarily, because every time Saint's in the wings, Alex is ungankable.
Just pulls it out, makes himself safe. Looks like he's going to head back to lane. Now going up against the Rod of Ages here. Then it's he himself trying to fill up that Muramana. Almost there. The Blade of the Rune King coming out into Yellow Pete. Looks like he's going Last Whisper once again for his second spot.
So that is a pretty good build actually on Varus. The Blade of the Rune King gives you enough attack speed that the Last Whisper is actually pretty critical to be able to get later. Plus he's going to want to kill Nautilus very early as well with percent health damage. I do like that combination from Yellow Pete. It's actually difficult to transition past that. So he's going to be hitting a pretty big spike when he completes Blade of the Rune King plus Last Whisper, as opposed to a regular conventional AD carry build.
Well, you see kind of a movement on the blue build here coming up to Ezreal. Definitely goes for the Bloodthirster to start that off instead of Lizard.
And that's exactly what Doublelift did in the North American qualifiers. The Bloodthirster first into the tier. That is my favorite version of the Iceborne Gauntlet's Mirror Mana Ezreal, because you get so much power in the lane just off the Bloodthirster, and then you get to transition into the annoying thing, so you never really have that weak point.
See how he utilizes it throughout the game. Right now he's got himself a good 10 CS up onto Yellow Pete. We have Soaz here. Give some Dyrus some trouble in the top lane. But they back off. A little bit of a lull in the game for everyone as they just get their farm on until the next fight.
And the last we checked of that top lane, it was really Soaz sneaking up there at 20 minion kills to 40 with an item advantage and then just kind of farming it out. Looks like it's been more of the same. These guys have not necessarily been fighting each other too much. They're farming up Dyrus, extending his lead by a little bit, about 14 more than previously, but still, those guys are going to be all about team fight tanking rather than fighting with each other.
Zara gets it up once again. Nice dodge there. The phase change by Jace. Alex keeping himself safe. A lot of aggression in that bottom lane, though, as they may try to go in for this fight.
Europe really wants to dive in, but the fight is bottom, and he is gone.
Yellow Pete gets obliterated on that one. Chain of Corruption is going to help Edward walk out of that, but that was big for them. 3 assists from them.
And it's even bigger because the Dragon just spawned. So if North America can repel this push mid, they're going to be able to trade Dragon for Dragon with Europe, who got it earlier.
Dyrus coming down to focus his bottom lane. Like you said, that focus now being put down towards the bottom side of the map. Edward may lose his turret, and they may lose his dragon with this amount of pressure. 6 seconds on Pete.
Very least, this is probably going to be the first turret of the game for North America, and a 17-minute turret really shows to the laning that's happened in this game and how neither team has really overextended. All the ganks have been about killing rather than pushing lanes. We saw a lot of early in Season 3, but first turret down, North America gets a slight gold lead.
There was a ping on Dragon just now. Saints making his way out there, but it looks like bottom is backing. So they say we at least need focus, we at least need vision. They're going to attempt.
And Yellow Pete's made it all the way back since dying, so North America didn't really use that window to try to get the Dragon. Both the top laners meandered their way back to the top lane to just start fighting up there, and it looks like the Dragon is completely deprioritized in this game.
Let's see. Diamond and Saint now in these inventories. Diamond still building up. Looks like it's to be team-oriented in that bulwark fashion. Saint going for fight. Not selfish, but the cooldowns, the armor, the regen, and really getting himself to help engage with the team.
And the boost mobility was the rush. He's only been able to get 2 kills off of it since, but he could rush forward quickly. Europe, though, good pick forward timing, good back timing. Specialist not there. I think Europe got him.
Take it down. It may still be an engagement, though. No, the gate is going to get them out safely, and nothing comes back to bite them.
With the way Europe is playing this one, kind of in and out, getting the Dragon, not wanting to fight, not even forcing a Dragon fight, I feel like they think they're going to have a window in this game where they can win team fights, and they're just working towards that point.
Well, from last game, it was like their positioning and not team fights won it. So it almost looks like they have 2 avenues. But this team, like you said, bringing to the table, it's going to be pretty good fight teams.
I think they're really looking for Alex to farm up and become an unstoppable beast. They're going to get that Mirror Mana transform, I think, in a couple minutes. His Mirror Mana is actually sitting at 720. So in about a minute, he's going to have that, and that's where they might start forcing their team fight. Maybe at the next Dragon. They're waiting on the Aegis from Diamond Procs. Soaz is waiting on probably a Sunfire King, because he just completes it right now. The Aegis goes in, and as soon as that last Whisper comes in on Yellow Pete, I think it's go time.
Here you see the Iceborne Gauntlet coming out. We have the Glacial Shroud onto Ezreal, almost charged up there and built up. Around the last Whisper, not finished on Pete. It's like these guys haven't gone back to buy too much, but wards always in the inventory. Team knows they have a bit of an advantage. Keep those wards out. The advantage is pressed. We'll be able to pick up this blue. This means Alex is going to start that poke game with Jace.
And it is a devastating poke game as he finally transforms his Mirror Mana, because at this point in the game, Jace doesn't necessarily have a weakness. A lot of times, if you're going the full AD Jace, you're very squishy. If they close in on you, you can't necessarily kill someone off. All you have is the hypercharged gate shot. But now, with the Mirror Mana, if they come in, he can use his W, 3-hit people for the full Mirror Mana damage on every hit. That's not reduced, by the way, with his triple shot. So it is devastating when they go in.
Alex Pickaxe looking to do some powerful damage here. If they brawl, Dyrus trying to push the top lane, and it almost looks like they are avoiding the fights as they know there's been a huge surge of power coming in to EU right now. They kind of got to take it slow.
And Scar is waiting to stack up his tier, as his Doublelift. Even though I said there wasn't much weakness in Doublelift's Bloodthirster first build, when you get that Glacial Shroud in, that item by itself isn't protecting him that much aside from a bit of armor.
Right.
Glacial Shroud in itself is a very inefficient item. It's efficient once you put it into its upgrade. So if he gets his Iceborne Gauntlets, he's there. But since he's not there yet, it's really not giving him a huge amount of benefit.
It's all about playing that mid-section of the purchase. Weird to think about, but it makes a difference. So they're kind of playing it slow. Like you said, the tier getting charged up. Doublelift looking for that core item out of Glacial Shroud. Dyrus, a little bit of harassment here, trying to figure out if Soaz is playing different. It looks like Dyrus' Sixth Sense paying off here. He's not engaging whatsoever.
And even though Diamond hasn't had the most successful ganks this game, it seems like for how much we've seen him waiting in rushes, he has an amazing amount of farm. Maybe that Spirit of Lizard Elder plus just him sweeping through the jungle very fast is making up for it. I don't quite know how he's done it.
30 CS ahead of Saint. Looks like there is some movement up in that top lane. Soaz goes in, and he's trying to bait Dyrus into using that slice and dice. There's the slice, there's the dice, but he used it to get away. Sixth Sense.
Dyrus is patient man.
Wow.
He knows how to top lane, and he definitely senses something is a little bit up right here. I wonder if North America is going to try to counter this one because they've been up there for a while, and finally they dive in.
Oh, Dyrus, you got too antsy in the pantsy. I don't know if you're going to make it out. He does. Still has the ultimate to throw down, and he did. A few more caster shots coming in. The auto attack there from Diamond. Oh, the flag toss. Rondarts, that's why they're illegal.
Style points there with the kill from Diamond. Support is rolling in from him, but actually Nautilus is on the chase. North America might try to turn something around here yet.
There they are. The wall goes down, so they have vision on the other side of the wall. It looks like Saint is going to dive into the Scar flashes. They get a good depth charge onto Diamond. He goes back to the fight, dodges it, tries to get some damage onto Doublelift, but he puts himself in for the safety of his team.
And surprisingly, the red buff actually fell off Diamond right before he died to Doublelift, so there is no red buff that Doublelift gets to have. Makes the dive actually successful for them since they not only got a 1-for-1 without transferring a red buff, they were also able to pressure the mid turret when North America roamed up to support.
I was going to say Alex hadn't been back to buy in a while. Looks like he picked himself up a nice last whisper after the Muramana finished. Looking for a lot more items and Infinity Edge to come out of Yellow beat this game.
So the pickaxe is actually going for Infinity Edge. Makes my whole speech earlier a little foolish, but I still think that's more of a late game transition build. It means that his last whisper is actually going to be very slow. So if he's ever dueling Doublelift while Doublelift has the Iceborne Gauntlets, he's going to have a hard time actually breaking through that damage.
Oh my gosh, he's going back. Alex D says, I'm getting out of here, but he meets a St. Vicious. Oh, the 2v1 in favor of Alex right now. He's actually fighting 3 people with Requiem coming in. Now into 1v1. A 4th person fighting Alex in this fight now with 2-stop rounds coming across. He may not make it out. 4 is 3 too many.
As impressive of a fight that was for Alex, it doesn't actually give his team an edge. He gave up assist pool gold essentially in that fight. He is such a powerhouse at this point in the game with his channel farm, his last whisper, and his Muramana transform that he can take on 2 people at once and come out ahead. But if he dies, it's not necessarily worth it unless Sauce can get the turn.
So we're going to go ahead and say this game is a bit closer than last game. 6-4. The gold still within 1,000 now at 24 minutes. The turrets within 1. Pressure to the top lane still coming from Skara. See if he can do anything to hold this off or get the team to bolster up with him. It looks like he's just going to be there. Wrap it up.
And we have to keep track as well of Doublelift's power this game. 4-0-2, and for as much as Alex Each has been farming on Jace, Doublelift is right behind him here. 9,100 gold on Double, 8,500 gold on Alex Each. So the battle of the biggest carry right now is to Doublelift, and with that Iceborne Gauntlet build, he's actually going to hit his max item build a little bit sooner than a regular AD carry. So NA will be able to have really a max item Ezreal quite quickly.
Two-shot barrage going top lane. They look to save this turret. That will be fine for now, and it looks like they are going to try and focus down Dragon 2 seconds from now. Skara still going to the top side. He's going to be at blue while they do this.
Scar's got to hurry up getting this blue buff because they just keep giving up Dragons to Europe, and Europe has been on top of it. North America has not been in position. This looks like Dragon number 3 for Europe.
And they're actually on both sides. They are trifecta around the Dragon happening, but didn't want to go in for it.
So with that Dragon, Europe has the gold lead. They actually haven't been winning that many fights. 6 kills to 4. Really the only one who's been powerful on his own has been Alex Each. And since they're getting the Dragons, we actually haven't seen the team fights getting generated by these guys.
They know consideration for power of both of these teams is coming in. Last game we saw North America dictating a lot of what was going on. The play
this could be the fight.
bouncing out. There's the box. The initiation comes in after this. Dyrus is still there to help Xpecial. It was going to be Doublelift coming in on the side, so that could have been scary for them, but each team backing off.
Really interesting disengage, I'd have to say, because Soaz was the one caught out. He used his Let's Bounce just as a way to get tenacity and escape out of this fight. Good play by North America, burning the Let's Bounce, but we'll see who capitalizes.
Let's see what they can do. 25 minutes in, it is 64. But it is going to get a lot more hairy with these turrets going down. They are pressuring down the mid now for North America. This was North America's turret on the other side for EU, so a definite momentum push for Europe as we come into the mid game.
And this game is not even close to being decided yet, but it will be decided soonish, if that makes any sense, because they've been farming up for so much and the team fights just haven't met the right conditions to happen. We need to have the Dragon fights. The Baron fights could actually happen fairly quickly. You got to keep in mind, Skara is on Karthus, who can kill Baron incredibly fast. Doublelift finally picked up his Iceborne Gauntlets. They could power through a Baron here, or they could just look to force a fight, as Europe is actually trying to split push two side lanes.
There goes Soaz from the side of the fight. Will they be able to actuate on this one? It's at 26 minutes. The core items have been had, and it's not EU pressuring that turret. It's North America pressuring down. Their health bars aren't even moving. Soaz dropping very quickly. The passive barrage, the pop for him. The true shot barrage actually not hitting the blob, but they are able to clean this one up. It's going to be the 4v5 in front of the turret and a very healthy North American squad.
So Alex Each is actually still in the bottom lane, pushing these turrets down. North America knows what happened last time when they were getting split push, and they only get the one kill for the turret. Good trade for Europe, I have to say.
They start backing this one up. Looks like Alex still trying to pressure that bottom lane. Doublelift is going to be the one to stop here. And Alex, realizing that he cannot see everyone on the map, is actually staying here.
If Doublelift gets a single hit on Alex, there's a chance he'd be able to kill him. Alex has to be very careful here because the chase potential of Doublelift's Ezreal is immense. Dyrus coming up behind.
Dyrus almost in range. That is going to be a shock-gated chase. Not going to be able to catch that guy. EU trying to make some moves, trying to now pressure every part of North America's side of the map.
And they're really just trying to execute the split push strategy and ain't not letting it happen.
North America back in the face of EU, and St. Vicious says we can do it too. Thresh getting a kill, actually. Xpecial comes up with one for himself in this matchup. Diamond going down, Diamond hitting up as well by Doublelift.
And now with Diamond out of the way, no smite steal is potential for North America, but there are still the two solo lane damage dealers from Europe who might try to harass this one. North America going for this Baron. Wards are being spammed in from the outside. Let's see if they can get this one down or how Europe tries to contest it.
Diamond not in this one. They're not even going to pressure. The true shot barrage coming across. There it goes to Saint. And it's a 28-minute Baron for North America.
For all the split pushing, that one mistake may cost Europe. After that Baron, they are still up in gold, which shows you how much map pressure they've actually been able to attain throughout the rest of this game. But a very critical mistake by Yellow Pete and Diamond getting caught out in this one. We have to wait to see how North America presses this Baron advantage.
Locket of the Iron, Solari coming out for Xpecial. And why? Because he's 2-6 along with his 6-0 and 280 carry. So pulling out the strength of the team right there. And on top of that, does that Locket protect the Nautilus shield from breaking?
It depends, I think, on the order of the shields when they're applied. They'll kind of stack on top of each other, so if they do, it will work very well for them. I really like Locket, particularly on Xpecial, because Thresh in himself, his Lantern is almost like a Locket.
Yeah.
So he'll get a double Locket in some of these team fights and really frustrate a Shock Blast or any type of Let's Bounce. You can almost completely
Does that Locket, the shield consider the Locket cooldown of not being as much next time?
Not sure what you're going for, but Doublelift getting caught by Alex.
All right, well, let's see if Doublelift gets it up here. Alex, wow, that was quite quick directly. I'm not really facing him too much.
Yeah, Doublelift has got to keep his distance from Alex right here. That was an absolute crush, and that's what they're trying to do to stay in the game, is just keep up Alex's split pressure.
Let's see if they do at 23 minutes. EU kind of gathering in middle here, saying, power in numbers, buddy system, let's hold this one out. But North America is doing the same as well. You cannot not move as a pack right now. There's just too much strength to go around. 3 core items and the Muramana finished. Is Alex even able to build into that Hex Drinker for personal safety? And these guys are coming out. The Bulwark now, so Skara getting a little bit hit up on that.
Yeah, and Skara got the transform even though he had the really late tier, so he's managed to kind of reach that late game Karthus potential. No kills, he's definitely not the same threat as Alex, and we did talk about potential split push threat in the pregame and how Europe really needed to have someone who could solo any potential split push that NA throws at them. And the battle between Alex Each and Doublelift could actually happen a couple times throughout this game. That last fight was a great sign for Europe if they want to continue to split.
Like Kessler, somewhat close to finishing that item build for himself as well. The Boots of Lucidity coming out now. We do see the Bulwark on both sides. Cyrus picking up a Warmox for himself, and everything just says fight, fight, fight.
The Dragon coming up pretty soon, but those have all went to Europe. North America hasn't really done much with this Baron. Their lanes from the sides are still pushing up. This is a fantastic hold from Europe so far.
Side to push, it's really up to the next move. North America trying to pressure a little bit of the jungle, still take away these buffs. Looks like they don't want it. The pink ward is going to keep them safe. There's the toss into Diamond. Could get up pretty good here. Piercing area coming from Yellow Pete. Depth charge to the back line. Chain of Corruption locks up just about the entire team. But look at Double It on the outside. Dyrus is able to finish the kill. They continue to dice in here. It's going to be Saint Vicious. Let's Bounce was completely used on Saint. Soaz is now going to be chased by 3, but it is going to deter them from an engagement with the rest of the team.
And he is out, so a 1-for-1 was a very good fight for Europe, considering they seem to be the ones to get cut out. North America was not able to get in position to deal their maximum amounts of damage, and that really wasn't that amazing considering how the fight started.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be pretty grim. The ward coverage for both teams was really the saving grace there. They knew what to do and what not to do. Now the top pressure on the turret here, 32 minutes in, 10-6. They only get a few shots on. The siege clear, quite good coming from EU.
And it looks like North America's Baron is about to be spent. They have maybe 10 seconds left on it, so nothing really gained. They were down 1,000 gold after they picked up the Baron, and they're still down 1,000 gold. So this game is still yet to be decided, even after North America seemed to have that big break in a Baron.
Leandri's being finished up onto Soaz. They can get that percentage damage down, and that's going to help. We got a pretty tanky Saint, pretty tanky Dyrus coming in there. Infinity Edge finished up onto Yellow Peak, and we saw instant depth charge onto Yellow Peak that fight. Really all he did was piercing arrow, so it's scary for him to get close in these fights.
He also got that Chain of Corruption, which held North America
the 45,
that's place. And it spread to pretty much anyone, which forced North America, or actually made them incapable of chasing all the way through. And wasn't that bad of a play by Yellow Pete after getting depth charge straight off the bat.
Saint pushing the top lane. Looks like they get a little bit of pressure on the Dragon, and they pick that up for themselves as well. So backing off.
Look at Alex go!
Vicious just absolutely getting bit down by Alex. There's the shot blast. Oh, but he gets the shield down to save himself.
That is such a scary man coming out of the jungle. Makes Saint burn all of his spells. Alex did burn his Ignite though, so he can't do that as quickly to Saint in the future. And even though that was an amazing show of strength by Alex, it doesn't give them a big edge.
Double Locket now coming out for North America here. Now, those double Lockets degrading on W's. That's what I was
Those
getting at
definitely
earlier.
degrade on W's.
Yeah.
You will refresh the duration of your own Locket. Full circle, we're back to there. Is Alex going to go kill Doublelift again? Probably not, he's not.
Maybe not. And really, Alex Yeesh, at the point in the game where he loves to be, I can 1v1 anyone on your team. Now finishing them all of Mebordi.
This is a lot of the Gambit Gaming playstyle. You can't send a man for Alex, and he team fights when he chooses and then decides to destroy you. And if he can pull it off in this game, Europe's going to probably come out on top, but North America has been forcing some really good team fights. If they catch someone in the right spot and don't get kind of re-engaged around by Soaz, they're going to be able to push through for something pretty powerful soon.
And we see that power coming kind of to a bridge here as all the items at max capacity for Mirror Mana charges up. The Void Staff now onto Skara. It's going to help greatly with that Bulwark damage as he gets into Defile the fight. And he's been using Flash to engage quite a bit. So with that up, these guys have a great engage on this fight.
And even without the Death Cap, Skara's sitting at 400 ability power, so he is still hitting quite hard. It's crazy to think, Riv, that we're 34 minutes into this game, and there's about 80 goals separating both teams, maybe less.
Yeah, even numbers at the top of the screen, even turrets on each side of the map. 10-6 is the kills, which is about what separates these two teams besides the mindset. 35 minutes into this one, a push down the mid lane for North America. We have Diamond on the top trying to push out that lane.
And Doublelift is actually only 1 item completion away from being a 6-item bluish Ezreal, since he's got the red Bloodthirster in there. It's North America's time to actually press a little bit. They haven't been able to press the last 6 or 7 minutes since they were able to pick up the last Baron, but they might force something big here since they got Void Staff, Last Whispers, and a very strong Doublelift now, 341 minion kills.
Special with the Oracles, they're trying to gain control of the map and really put Europe into an uncomfortable position here. Alex Yeesh actually taking quite a bit of damage from that shot on Doublelift, so they're trading Shock Blast damage for Mystic damage at just about the same amount.
They're just really poking back and forth. Neither team wants to engage too hard since they know the damage potential of both of each other. If you engage into a Karthus, the rest of your team is kind of cut off from yourself. But if North America tries to dive in, Zach's probably just going to jump through their entire team and start bouncing all over the place. So very difficult situations for both.
There's so many things to focus on in these fights. Who does Diamond Cataclysm? Is it Dyrus? Does he get out? St. Vicious just anchor toss out. Where's it going to be? Are the 80 carries focused? There's so much to watch, and it looks like it may be all over Baron.
And North America is actually trying to bait around a corner and get a catch of some kind, but Europe is really not taking the bait. They're poking safely. Edward's been back to base. They were not trying to see that one right there, which means they're actually in a bit of danger of letting North America take a Baron.
They are in on it. They have a pink ward in, so it's just going to be pink ward to ward battle as they try this one.
And it's going to peel out.
Smite is up. St. Vicious starts to peel off. Do they have it? The flash? Oh, he gets the terrain. Alex Ish with the fast flash as well.
But that means the flash is down, so the next time St. Vicious tries to ultimate, even though he doesn't have a flash to engage, they might be able to lock down Alex Siege. It will be a very touchy positioning battle for Alex, since he has taken so much of that farm that he cannot get caught out.
Alex now going over to the blue buff. They need the poke to stay there. True Shot Barrage to the top lane so they can keep the focus exactly where it is. They do not want to leave the pressure they have. They know they have EU in an uncomfortable spot, like I said.
And EU is definitely on the back foot. They're the ones worrying about getting poked at Baron, but it's definitely not overly detrimental. They're feeling somewhat comfortable here, but a little bit uneasy.
Pressure now still at Baron. We've been here for 2.5 to 3 minutes. It's been tagged. It's been walked away from. This dance is becoming a grand waltz for these teams as they start to engage it once again. We're going for possibly the final dance. They got the depth charge pops up too, but they dive to the back line. Cataclysm gets everybody it needs to. Dyrus can't even get out of it. He's trying to fight Diamond. Requiem comes down to the top. A double kill for Yellow Pete on the Infinity S5 for him with the blade of the Rune King. Scar picks one up. It's going to be so far a 4-for-1. EU coming out on top, but it looks like the poke is still continuing. Doublets on one side, and it looks like they finally give up.
A 4-for-1. So many people flashing red. 3 there for Europe, below 25% health by the end of that fight. And that was an amazing counter-initiate by Soaz and Diamond. Even though Alex got hit by the depth charge, no one on North America could actually follow through. Scar couldn't quite make it into the team fight, and the backline got wrecked by bouncing Soaz.
Walk it down mid lane and start to give a little bit of help to North America.
Because we're really 38 minutes into the game now, those death timers after that 4-for-1 fight for really long. So normally after a really close Baron fight like that, you get to see no one have it because they're all alone, they have to go back to base. But they actually went back to base and then came all the way back to Baron, and North America was still dead, so they were able to take the Baron for free, which is great. Not for free, because of the fight.
Indeed. Because they fought valiantly and kept themselves alive. We were talking about it a little bit last game, is you fight something and you don't have enough health to do it. But Gambit's kind of finding themselves on, we have more than enough health to do things after these fights. And that, after being so uncomfortable, has to be a boost of confidence.
And they were playing this whole game up until now because they feel like they're stronger late game. The way they were trying to sneak the Dragons, how they were never really forcing fights because they wanted to reach a late game point where Alex was the most armed on their team, where Yellow Pete could be a real threat when they're in these team fights, sitting in the back and just cleaning up. It's working for Europe right now.
Alex sitting at 100 CS per 10 minutes right now. He's got that 400. He's looking to give Tumbleif a run for his money on that. And Guardian Angels being picked up more on the EU LCS side.
Hey man.
Very Gambit-y.
That's back when there were Moscow 5 strategy in Season 2, when they wanted to end the game, everyone would build Guardian Angels and they'd make their final push. With the Baron buff, with double GAs, even though they're not as strong as they were in Season 2, that could be Europe's play here.
Extreme farm coming out on a lot of these guys. 300s, 4 of these players on the Rift right now. 2 for each side. Another 200 in those top lanes as Dyrus and Soaz have been going at it back and forth. And again, credit to Soaz. He went to that lane 40 CS behind to really help his team in these fights. And we heard what Shai said. You may be down, but you got to keep your head in the game.
And that's exactly what Soaz did, because he had a very rough game 1. He has not been having a great All-Star series, but he is showing up in this game despite having the early disadvantage.
Brand new Omen trying to be finished up onto St. Vicious. His flash almost coming up. Still with Alex Vicious from that last flash engagement. His Baron buff
keeping them on their heels. Doublelift trying to get some damage. Whoa, that's a good chunk onto Diamond there. There's the initiation, and it's not going to be too much. Oh, he's got Diamond. That's a for sure. Edward with one more shot. Gives himself the seal. Martin shifted. Doublelift going for another kill. He's going to be able to get that one. This is going to be Doublelicious. And he looks like he picks up Yellow Beat as well. 1, 2, 3. That's going to Scar.
And Europe was so confident because they had double G8 and a Baron buff that they let Doublelift sneak up on him. And these are very long death timers. 50 seconds on Yellow Beat, 40 on Diamond, 35 on Edward. They might try to end with these 2 Baron buffs still sitting on Europe.
The Death Chamber putting the sweat on the European LCS All-Star team right now. The first inhibitor turret to be hit, battered, and beaten down by North America as the inhibitor now lies in their eyes.
20 seconds still left on the shortest death timer. They got 40 seconds on Yellow Beat. Alex and Soaz have a bunch of damage. There are no creeps for North America. They're going.
They have the poke. There's the Zac attack. Let's bounce. There's the brace for Scar. They're going to fight this one out right at the Nexus. The front door is being beat down, but Europe is doing everything they can to clean up the doormat. Dyrus left alone in the turrets. He may be able to walk out, but that was a big, big stop for Europe.
And now Europe is on the offensive. Alex still chasing it. We know how much damage he does.
Homeguard doing special. Guarding it beautifully. The shock blast hits. The changes in the gate to come out. He will continue to chase. The jump on to the skies. Dumps him down.
And now we're throwing the gauntlet back around the other way. That is 4 death timers for North America. And everyone alive on Gambit. I mean Europe. They're going now for the Nexus.
The supercharged Gambit. There's a lot of Europe calls, but they are the European All-Stars, hailing from many regions, coming together here for this spectacular play in the Shanghai Grand Stage.
15 seconds on Scara, 17 on Doublelift. I feel like they're going to res to get to the final edge, but this inhibitor is definitely going down, Riv.
Inhibitor for inhibitor. I don't know if they're going to be left fighting the Nexus turrets. EU says it was a little risky. We'll back out for this one.
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
I feel like we should take a break right now because that was unreal. All said and done, there's 4,000 gold lead on Europe. They are a little bit stronger than they were before that fight, but they have lost their Baron fight, and now they have the appropriate fear of Doublelift, I feel like. They focused him super hard when they were trying to take down those Nexus turrets, and they were within an inch of losing that game if they did not play that fight at their Nexus turrets exactly right.
4,000 gold, 2 turrets, and 0 kills separate these teams now as they have been pretty much neck and neck. And with this gold lead, 4,000 this late in the game, it's distributed so smallly, or so little between each players. It's not an item for them. It means nothing.
Yeah, the later you get into the game, the less a gold lead really matters. It's kind of about the percentage, and especially when you start hitting 6 items. Sometimes the gold lead doesn't mean anything because Doublelift is sometimes using his ultimate to clear a creep wave off the side or just push it back from the base because he's been maxed items for a while. It's not like his farm is actually netting him anything right now. It's just all about the team fight.
Doublelift, put up Captain Boots.
Home guard boots.
Those are, no, they are. This screen
colors
just kick
trick size, man. I wish they were Captain Boots because he is.
I was like, he's got the slow. He's got the gauntlet. Nope, screen protector, thanks. So 43-25 into this game, 14-14. We do have that 4,000 gold lead, but it could be not even there. Obsolete, as we said before. Blocking the Iron Solari coming out. 2 members for each team as they mirror that up. Guardian Angel's not up for Europe right now, so I don't expect them to be too crazy with anything.
No, and this is exactly where they almost lost the game the last time when Doublelift poked down Diamond and Edward pretty much by himself before the Requiem came in. So they got the 1 turn and they're skedaddling out of there. The Baron is coming up very soon, and that may be where we see the next thing. But since teams have exposed inhibitors, they got to be extremely careful with where the back doors can be coming in because both of these teams have experience in that from the last game.
I cannot believe the CS in this game for the amount of fighting as well. 2 people over 400 now and still more cresting there. We're only 44 minutes in. You see this in 60 minutes.
You gotta do. That is a little bit absurd. We could very well see 500 minion kills out of these guys, but if they're smart, they're going to be channeling farm into Yellow Pete. And North America is going to be channeling into Scar because Alex and Doublelift are maxed. They have to get more people to maximum power.
All right, we'll have to see how they coordinate this one, where the next fight goes. Bases are open. Inhibitor in the mid lane for EU, Inhibitor in the bottom lane for Europe as they were able to grab the Baron and get the map objective free. They're going to have to work on other inhibitors though if Baron is up.
This is potentially it. I thought the game was maybe over a couple of times so far, and there is a gargantuan creep wave actually creeping up the bottom lane for North America. And NA can't bait around Baron because Europe could very well just run into the base if they did. But we might see a team fight in this mid lane. If anyone gets a catch, there's a flash!
It's on the head where the flash did come up. That means Alex has his as well. Soaz right to the back line. Diamond, the Cataclysm, but he jumps out of it with a flash. Leases everybody in the back line. Soaz very hurt. Just gets himself out with beautiful play. It's a kill from Alex on Skara. Diamond now falls in the matchup. The Requiem comes down, but I believe it's Boblets. He could be alive in this one. He will be. And it looks like they may not be able to save him. Doublet pressuring on. Jack, we said these are long timers, and those are very low health bars.
And even though they're long timers, that was a 2 for 2. And everyone is actually going back to base now. Such a aggressive initiate there by St. Vicious, and it looked like that fight was actually going to go to Europe's way until Scar threw out that Requiem at the end. Here's the risk play, though. Doublelift next special, we're thinking about Baron. That would have been a bad idea.
Yeah, it's almost like both teams knew they had to have that. We have to blow some of the summoners on each team. Then the next fight will be the pushing. Oh, no!
No, you gotta watch out.
Catching on to that. Pokes to him, but whoa, they are still going on to this. Alex East through the wall. He is going to keep going. The flash comes out. He gets the shift. Oh, he tries to turn it around, but whoa! Throws that two-step around out to the side.
And because North America went to check the Baron after the fight and let Europe just run back up with home guard boots on a bunch of them and the gate from Jace, they made it there in a flash. That was almost a disaster, and what a crazy chase there by Alex and Double.
What a crazy everything right now, chat. This is absolutely ridiculous. Still, even in kills, it just goes back and forth. The Guardian Angels are now up. Again, what EU was waiting for this to happen. The Guardian Angels aren't even being considered on the side of the North American LCS. They did go for a Thornmail on St. Vicious, but it's all about power, fighting, and staying in that fight for the one time.
And Sage is really just trying to run at Yellow P. He knows he's going to sacrifice himself for these team fights. That's why he's flashing in for the initiations. It's about really Doublelift and Skara for North America. Dyrus and Sate are kind of just distractions. And for Europe, it's really about Alex Each and Yellow Pete's damage, but Soaz is a much bigger distraction than Renekton just because of how much he's bouncing around. I feel like, I can't even agree for sure.
You can't. These fights are ridiculous. Like we said, you watch Diamond with Diamond Cataclysm. Here they go, though. Out of it. They are going for the Baron again. It does not look like they have a way to walk out of this one without taking damage on the backside. The wall goes down. They pressure him in. There's the first locket to stop some Baron damage. They begin the fight. Big special. The Cataclysm to the backside is right on to Skara. He is shredding Soaz and Diamond right now. The first kill coming out. Full house and Soaz. They are still going. Doublelift with full health in this fight as Requiem comes down and crashes into safety. And a kill on the Yellow Beat. Here comes that Guardian Angel. The 1, 2, 3. No, he missed it, but he sticks back in. Another 400 gold down.
He's gonna get a penta.
Double kill for this. The 1 kill. Penta for double. Penta kill. Doublelift.
Wow, what a way to get an ace at the end of a 48-minute game. Looks like North America is just cruising down for this Nexus.
There is no way they're going to take 60 seconds to take down the inhibitors. You can see the cams. Doublelift with a pentakill in the All-Star game. He may be the only one to go, though. Everybody has to back. Oh, no. Will they actually have enough?
Maybe not. I called it too early. There's 20 seconds left on Soaz's death timer. There's still Nexus turrets up. The game isn't over yet, Riv.
Oh my
Are you
gosh.
kidding?
The pentakill coming in. He was 9-2-6, now 14-2-6. And we said, man, they might want to channel some different stuff onto people. They just channeled everything onto Doublelift. But that puts a fear into the European team.
And the craziest thing about the pentakill is that doesn't actually help North America in the grand scheme of things. It shows that they can win fights, but Doublelift can't buy anything with those items. It's not like he's a more fed Ezreal now. He's just more of a realized threat here. The Baron wasn't even taken. The only thing they got out of that was a refreshed inhibitor. We're going to get to see that fight again.
Absolutely. Like we said, they wanted to blow the summoners. They wanted to get back in, and it has to be considered that 2 Guardian Angels went down over the entire fight for EU. And it looks like Baron at 50 minutes here will be challenged once again.
Diamond might try to run in for a steal, but they're way scattered and way behind. I feel like North America can get at this, maybe the steal. Alex is running at full speed.
Here we go. They are going to lock it in. Alex just on the outside. The Baron goes down. Saint locks it up for the team. This is a very big NA. This is a very big EU on the thread of a victory.
The thing is, the last time it looked like Europe had the power hand was when they had the Baron buff, and it was overconfidence that cost them the momentum in the game. They got killed and chased back to their base. North America is going to be so confident off of this, they have to make sure they don't over push, because these fights are on a hair trigger with how they could turn in either direction.
you said, Jad, that goal difference not meaning much anymore. The kill difference not meaning much anymore. It comes down to the late game fight, the positioning, what can be done by these teams. It almost says the past 50 minutes have only tried and tested you to see how good you are now.
It's an all-star game. These guys, the true test of skills, the best players from every region here in North America and Europe, really giving me the best games I've seen all season. This is unreal right now. Scar with the death cap. How much ability power does that dude have? He's got 775. Alex has been max items for about 95 minutes right now. Almost everyone is getting to the max items. Yellow Pete's GA is down, obviously. I don't know how this game is going to end.
It's going to have to end with a fight, Chad, and it's going to be bloody and brutal, but it can't be called. There's no one that has the good initiation over the other. You have Anchor Tosses, you have Diamond, who has had amazing cataclysms. Soaz has always been there to capitalize with Diamond on crowd control lockup, and it looks like, once again, they'll be here, a 5-on-5 in the bottom lane.
And there's still a turret up in this push. They're going to have to poke it down and risk getting initiated. Then on, there goes Soaz!
There's one. Soaz goes in, elastic shot, but that means he stays behind in a Jarvan ultimate now.
And look at that bounce plus shot, got Scar to half, which means if he tries to move into a team fight, it's going to be very careful. North America is very confident with this Baron buff. They're getting the turret, but they still are getting risked at for maybe initiation.
That siege pressure.